troubled.
Before leaving, I met Catherine Molsberg. She's in shock, as was reasonable to expect. She didn't even see her son, Alice. They ripped him away from her, took him who knows where.
That's why we're here. I must admit the lead we have is very peculiar, but...
About that, explain where you are dragging me again.
My research led me to a certain Giuseppe Balsamo, who some identify as Count Cagliostro, one of the most famous alchemists of all time, or one of the most notorious crooks, according to others.
To think, I've been dragging this bomb bottle around with me for days. What do we know about this Cagliostro?
Little or nothing. We don't know the date of his birth, we don't know precisely where he was born. Some even doubt he was really Giuseppe Balsamo. The only certain bit of information I found is about his death. Cagliostro spent the last years of his life in San Leo, in the Emilia-Romagna region.
Basically, we're about to land in Italy to track down a man that presumably died 2 centuries ago.
Presumably?
And what about the professor you need to talk to in Rome?
Lamberto Visconti, a cultural anthropologist of international fame specializing in the occult. If there's anyone able to help us reveal the mystery of the mirror found on the Sitla Lique, it's him.
We're about to begin the landing procedure. Please fasten your seatbelt.
Well, that's that it seems. We've come to the parting of our ways.
Lars, don't give up. We'll find that baby.
Eric.
What?
Catherine told me before we said goodbye. Find my Eric. And yes, we will find him. Wow. I was immediately enveloped by the medieval atmosphere of San Leo. Great men once trod those cobblestone roads and admired the sights. Among them was Count Cagliostro. I'd stored a piece of the old tire I'd repaired with Wheelo's chewing gum. It felt like years ago. The bartender looked like he wanted to spend the day idling there, chewing a wooden stick. What a bad assortment of rabble. The fountain was full of crystal clear water, adorned with fresh flowers. They really knew how to make those kinds of things special in Italy. He was speaking German, so I didn't understand anything at all. Excuse me, are you a tour guide?
No, I sell encyclopedias.
My question was rhetorical.
I'm just joking. What do you need? Hello? Anybody home?
Oh, sorry. I was completely taken by your tie.
Thanks. Your scarf's not bad either.
I was wondering if you could give me a bit of information about the place.
I'm sorry. I've been booked for a week by this tourist group, but you know what? Try the library. Gaia should be able to help in one way or another.
That building with the glass door?
Exactly. Take care, and enjoy San Leo.
Well, it wasn't comfortably delivered to my home, but at least I could keep up to date even during my stay in San Leo. The foreign news reported a disastrous disinfestation in Miami, where the local palm trees seemed to be in danger as a result of some red insects. Oh. Ads of various kinds, missing pets, dental practice, tours of San Leo aboard a helicopter. An old-style device with rotary composition, Fascinating, but a bit uncomfortable to use. We had a similar one at home. My grandma kept talking to the receiver as if it were a microphone, and we made fun of her. Then what happened to Dad made all the laughter go away. Hi,
Good morning.
are you in charge of this place?
Are you surprised because I'm a woman?
You don't exactly reflect the stereotypical librarian I had in mind.
Youth is an illness from which you soon get well.
Sorry?
I mean, I'm not as young as you may think.
Come on, how old could you be? 30? 35?
I'm 28. Thanks a lot. You're a tourist, right? The American accent is unmistakable.
I was born in Italy, but I've lived in Florida for years. Miami, to be precise.
You don't say. That must be fabulous.
You bet your books. I'm Lazarus Bundy.
I'm Gaia.
I'm interested in getting some information about San Leo.
Of course. We have information brochures for tourists.
It seems like good stuff. I'll look into it. And if I were interested in more unusual topics.
You're referring to alchemy, right? I'm afraid I'm not the best person to help you. I prefer to stay grounded, unlike Olive, who does nothing but chase certain ghosts.
Who's Olive?
Oh, just a friend of mine with his head permanently in the clouds.
Take care, Gaia. On the first page, there was only an evocative panoramic photo. Wow. Medieval towers, ancient prehistoric monuments, bloody clashes. Good stuff. That tower seemed impressive. The Fortress of San Leo. The brochure claimed that Count Cagliostro spent his final days there. It might be a good starting point. Luckily, it was just around the corner, a short ride away. The man was distinguished and elegant. I would have never imagined what was hiding behind that facade. Hey, old sport. How's it going?
Beg your pardon?
Oh, sorry, Father. I didn't see your collar.
Wait, your name's eluding me.
Well, I really don't see how you could.
No, I can do this. I'm sure it starts with an S. Simone, Samuele, Severio. You're definitely Severio.
I'm Lazarus Bundy, and I just got into town, Father. Yes, well, I was waiting for you to tell me your name.
Didn't I introduce myself? Where is my head today?
I was clearly in front of a chronic senile.
I'm Father Carlo.
Is it an interesting read?
Which one?
I was talking about the book you're holding.
Oh, this. Refreshing, I'd say. It's a historiography of our fortress. Did you know it was right here that Berengar II of Italy barricaded himself in with his sons to escape the fury of Otto the Great? And he continued to resist here until he was arrested and exiled to Bamberg.
Maybe I underestimated the historical importance of San Leo. If I ask you for information about Count Cagliostro, the priest looked at me as if my phone started to ring during Sunday Mass.
Count Cagliostro was a godless man who was unable to repent of his own sins to his dying breath.
Hey, calm down. I was just curious.
People like that are best forgotten.
Goodbye, Father. Is he always so absent-minded?
Today is actually better than usual.
Astonishing. Majestic, the fortress towered over the surrounding hills. That was the place where Cagliostro met his demise. The luxuriant nature, the sun high in the sky, all those shades of green. Everything conveyed a deep sense of peace. Fortress of San Leo was huge, and it emanated a centuries-old charm. Damn, work in progress.
I'm afraid so. Unfortunately, we're renovating part of the fortress, and this is the only area open to the public at the moment.
Listen, Luca, I've come so far to visit this place, and
How do you know my name?
it's written on your badge.
Oh, well, anyway, I'm sorry, but even if I let you pass, you won't find much nowadays. You'll have to make do with this room.
I'll take a look around then. The chainmail was formed from tiny little metallic rings, woven together with great skill. The panel stated that the structure would be closed to the public indefinitely. What followed was very interesting. Some of the artifacts have been temporarily moved to a nearby building, Castle Sancti Leonis. Excuse me.
Yes?
That sign says some of the artifacts from the fortress were moved to another building.
Yes, Castle Sancte Leonis. The Marquis de Vilta, its owner, has agreed to host some of the finds from the fortress there during its period of renovation.
Good to know. Do you know where I could find him?
By now, he will surely be in Dante Alighieri Square. He's a creature of habit and spends half of his days reading the newspaper sitting at Oliviero's bar. You won't have any problems finding him. He's a very little man.
I must thank you. Your contribution will help me save a newborn in danger.
This guy's crazy.
The glass was translucent, and it didn't let me see how deep the well was. Ancient vases, elegant daggers, decorated figurines. When this story started, I'd have never imagined I would have ended up walking around museums. That panel was a reminder of the forced stay of Felice Orsini, the man responsible for the attack perpetrated against Napoleon III of France. The emperor survived, but the 3 bombs thrown at his carriage caused real carnage. Ancient medieval coats of arms, adorned by their relative names and chivalric mottos. The description matched the one the fortress attendant gave me. That had to be the Marquis de Vilta. Good morning. Are you the Marquis de Vilta?
Who are you? And who told you who I am?
My name's Lazarus Bundy. I arrived here a few hours ago. I've just been to the San Leo fortress, but found it closed for renovations. There was a very friendly attendant, though, who told me about you and of the castle, Santo Leonidum?
Sancte Leonis, the castle of St. Leo, which my family renamed as such in honor of the local saint.
Exactly what I just said. Would it be possible to access the building to take a look at the findings?
The castle is private property, and if I agreed to store a few ancient artifacts there, it is only because Walter Baringla, the director I hired to look after the building, insisted. Certainly not to set up a museum for American tourists. Bah.
Listen, I just got here from Florida and
you should have better informed yourself before leaving. I'm very attached to that building, and the very few trusted people I let enter are in possession of a specific permit signed by me.
A permit, huh? You spoke of a permit. Do I have any shot at getting one?
You'd have a better chance of speeding past my vintage vehicle on that scrap heap of yours, young man.
Hey, don't insult my green dart. I had met my share of bloated windbags, but this one threatened to explode at any moment. I would get that permit, and I would sign it myself. His home was the most likely place to look for one. I absolutely had to get his address. Tell me about San Leo.
What do you take me for, a tour guide? Go bother someone else, for heaven's sake.
Trying to drag information out of that man felt like a salmon trying to swim upstream. I really need to go.
I'll bear this pain with stoicism.
Hey, mister!
Huh? Are you talking to me?
Of course I'm talking to you. Come here a second, please. Look, pal, would you do me a favor? I dropped my pendant, and to get it, I need to go around the building or climb over. Could you maybe...
Why not? Here you are.
Very kind. Mr...
Bundy. Lazarus Bundy.
Lazaro? Like in the Holy Bible?
There's a story behind that, actually.
I'm Oliviero, the second best bartender in the world. Welcome to San Leo. What brings you here?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to disconnect from work and take a long trip through Europe.
I understand. but I've seen you asking a lot of questions around here for a tourist.
Occupational hazard?
Mm-hmm. Why? What's your job?
I decided not to show my cards to a perfect stranger. Operator for a statistical agency.
Exciting, to say the least. Well, Lazaro, if you need anything, just ask. I have everything you might need.
I didn't much like his attitude. He seemed harmless, although, wasn't that quite the interrogation he'd just given me? What do you sell exactly?
Purely basic necessities. Milk, tobacco, and alcohol.
Tobacco and alcohol are basic necessities?
Are you kidding? Most people would sell their grannies for a carton of cigarettes.
I know what you mean. Until recently, I smoked 2 packs a day.
Wow. We're in the presence of one of the select few who managed to quit.
Too late, though. The problem with smoking is that you don't realize how it's hurting you until someone else, generally in a white coat, shoves it in your face. Why did you say you're the second best bartender in the world?
Rumor has it that the best of all lives in Rome. A true legend. It seems he scattered members of his family around the world, destined to become his heirs.
Well, if you're such a good bartender, then maybe you're one of them.
Hey, you're right.
What can you tell me about San Leo?
San Leo is a small town. I think close to 3,000 people or so. There's a lot of history here, and we certainly don't lack tourism. And yet...
I bet you dream about the big cities of the world.
Spot on. It's just that I didn't imagine ending up behind a bar counter after my PhD in chemistry. I believe I deserve something more out of life.
Oliviero reminded me of myself in many ways. I left Italy with the same spirit, when searching for something that turned out to be just a fleeting moment of glory. Do you know the Marquis de Vilta?
Who doesn't know that arrogant ass?
For reasons I'm not going to explain, I need to reach his home, but I don't know the address.
Oh, sorry, but I'd prefer to stay out of it. I don't want to get into trouble with him. He's too influential a person. Besides which, to tell you the truth, I don't exactly know where his mansion is. Out of town, anyway.
Well, I get it. Do you chew that piece of wood all day?
A piece of wood? I've heard it all now. This is a licorice root.
You still look like a goat to me. Have you ever requested a permit for Castle Sancto Leonida?
Castle Sancti Leonis. I tried once, yes. I wanted to organize a private tour for me and a companion. That little guy, though, allows entry only to a close circle of friends, and apparently I'm not part of it. But then again, I'm just a bartender.
What happened to the form?
I made a great paper plane out of it that earned me the current record here in San Leo.
See you later. It was the Marquis' car, and I must say it reminded me of its owner, small and roundish. The vintage car was well preserved, but judging by the patch of gasoline on the ground, it must have had a leak. The gas would unstick the chewing gum, but I liked it that way. Hi. Let's talk about Castle Pactiglione.
Castle Sancti Leonis. It's a great building, ancient and fascinating. Unfortunately, for a while now, the Marquis has stopped issuing permits to visit it, which is strange, because until a few months ago, he was more than happy to show off his family's holdings.
Have you ever tried asking for a permit?
No, but it seems he's particularly reluctant to grant them.
What can you tell me about the Marquis de Vilta?
Why the interest?
We just had a little spat, and I'd like to know who I'm dealing with.
I admit he's not the most sociable person in the neighborhood, but at least he actively participates in municipal life. He's given numerous grants to the library, among other things, and he's a fervent reader.
I must have genuinely misjudged him. Now I feel guilty. Do you know his address? I'd like to deliver him a gift to make up for it.
The Marquis is registered here, but we don't require an address for membership. We just ask for phone numbers in case someone forgets to return a borrowed book.
That could be a good start.
I'm sorry, but our privacy policy forbids me from providing personal details to strangers, if you're thinking of asking me for it.
Come on. Who's ever going to know?
I don't mean to intrude on your discussion, but I couldn't help but overhear. Clara is bound to respect her duties. especially the obligation of confidentiality.
Gaia, not Clara. And don't worry, I had no intention of ignoring my responsibilities.
This is a full-scale coalition against me. I have an insane desire to read.
To borrow a book, you need a card, which, unfortunately, I can only issue to residents.
But I really have a great desire to read.
You're strange, Lazarus. You make me laugh. Try to swing by City Hall. Maybe they could issue you a tourist permit.
I doubted it. Plus, I'd have exposed myself too much. So to borrow a book...
You need a library card. Unfortunately, I have strict regulations about that. I can only issue cards to residents.
Take care, Gaia. Father Carlo?
Yes?
Tell me something about Castle Sancti Leonini.
I think it's Castle Facti Leonidi.
No, wait. Maybe it's Castle Sanctum Lapini.
Or Castle Fant Laprini?
Come on, you two. It's Castle Sancti Leonis.
Whatever. At least we got close. I withdraw my question. Have you got a library card?
Sure. Here, go ahead and take it.
But are you giving it to me without even asking for it?
Isn't it written, "Better is a dish of vegetables where love is, than a fattened ox served with hatred"?
I started to ponder the parable of Father Carlo, trying to make sense of that enigmatic verse. Perhaps the man standing in front of me possessed a well-concealed wisdom? Okay, probably not. You must know many of the faithful in your church.
As does any parish priest worthy of such a name.
Good. The man I'm looking for is named De Vilta. He's short, slightly overweight, wears glasses. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, of course.
Oh, perfect. Do you know his home address?
I'd really love to help, but, well...
You don't remember it.
I'm sorry. Lately my mind is distracted with the organisation of Christmas.
Christmas? It's the beginning of November.
Are you serious?
Goodbye, Father. I would use the nail to unstick that photo from the badge. A few seconds soaking in the gas would turn the chewing gum back to its original state. Hey, Gaia, here's my card.
So you got proof of residence in the last 5 minutes, and you also managed to procure a membership card without me officially issuing it. Moreover, a new card on which you appear to be born in 1963. You don't show your age at all. Congratulations.
Well, apart from that, everything's in order, right?
I've never seen such a clumsy attempt to borrow a book. I'll turn a blind eye just this one time. Is there something you want to consult?
I hadn't read a book for at least 6 years. And on top of that, it was the installation manual for the air conditioner. I floundered about, looking for a title that might at least sound plausible. What the Government Kept from Us, by Weelo Wee.
Weelo Wee?
Sure, the much-talked-about Vietnamese writer who was the best-selling smash the last few years. Don't tell me you never heard of him.
I admit I haven't. I'll have to search in the new arrivals section. It might take a while.
I'm in no hurry.
I'll be back soon. I'm really sorry, but there's no trace of that book.
Maybe it's too recent. Don't worry, I'll think of something else. Aesthetically, it was very ugly, but contained a useful tracker inside. By attaching the bracelet around the car's muffler, Alice would be able to follow its every move. Done. The Marquis was totally absorbed in his reading and didn't notice anything. There was nothing else to do besides send him home now. I was clearly getting worse by the minute, but I couldn't give up before finding that child. I had to resist. The universal remote control for my original pony. The best of the worst. Just having to talk to him in person from time to time was enough. Besides, my phone calls with Wheelo lasted 20 seconds at most. Then he hung up. Anti-interception measures, he said. I no longer needed to call Burton. I wondered what my mother was doing at that precise moment. It had been years since we last spoke. Anyway, I had other things to worry about. I could do without Alice's help just then. By that time, they were all using those instant messaging programs. Therefore, my message box was constantly empty. There wasn't anything else to do but phone de Vilta and motivate him to return home.
Hello?
Hi, is this the Marquis de Vilta?
I am. Who's speaking?
I'm calling from the local fire station. We've had a report of a fire in your garden.
You're joking, right?
We don't have time for jokes around here. I suggest you hurry back and get to your house as soon as possible.
My lovely house! My paintings!
At that point, it was up to Alice to follow the movements of the Marquis.
Hi, Lars.
Hey there. Have you arrived at the home of Professor Visconti?
Almost.
Great. When you get there, you should give me the current position of the tracking bracelet.
What are you up to with the tech equipment I gave you, Lazarus Bundy?
Let's just say Cagliostro isn't the only nobleman I have to track down. Can you do that quickly?
It shouldn't be any problem. Just give me time to set up an internet connection.
All right. Standing by.
It's a shame I won't have time to visit Rome up, down, and sideways. That's something I've dreamed of doing for a long time. Well, now I'm officially, or at least almost officially, on duty. I have to show everybody what I'm made of.
Yes? Who is it?
Is this the house of Professor Visconti?
Oh, you must be the young girl that called here yesterday. I'll open the door for you, dear. Hi, darling. I'm Marie. Please put your things on that table.
Thanks a lot. Good. Let's get busy. Everything's ready. Here I am, Marie.
I'm making a cake specifically for you, dear.
Oh, you didn't need to go to so much trouble.
I wouldn't be a good housekeeper if I didn't accommodate the professor's guests properly.
Speaking of which, excuse me for the hurry, but is the professor home?
Yes, but you'll have to wait. He's taking his afternoon nap now, and I can't wake him up. Lately, he's always so tired. He needs rest and treatment.
Treatment? For what?
Oh, you poor dear. Don't you know? The professor has contracted some rare form of Alzheimer's.
What? Why didn't I see anything about it online?
Lamberto is a very proud man. Since the diagnosis, he's preferred to hole up at home.
Do you think he'll be able to help me?
If he made you come all the way here, I'm sure he will. His disease comes and goes. Talking to him is like being on a roller coaster. In the meantime, feel free to explore the house as you please. I just ask that you not go to the upper floor. The bedrooms are there, and you might bother the professor.
Don't worry, I'll use this chance to do a certain task for a colleague of mine. First things first, I need an internet connection. The connection is protected with a web key. I have to ask Marie. There's the documents for my internship, a copy of my lease, and a bit of other stuff. Nothing useful right now. There's nothing but garbage in there. I don't need to explore my computer. Let's see. Confused and intrigued at the same time. As soon as this case is over, I'll take a look at the website. Wonderful. Often the new screens don't match the clear images of those cathode ray boxes. What is your relationship with the house owner?
Excellent, I'd say. The professor is a good employer, kind and patient. You have no idea how sad it is to see him reduced to this state. Lamberto was never an effusive person, nor cheerful, but when he worked on his research, you could feel the passion unleashed throughout the house.
I noticed the furnishings are tribal, and yet I thought the professor's area of study was the Middle Ages.
Lamberto studies all kinds of cultures and eras, dear, without any limits or distinction.
What are you doing?
Making a cake for you, my dear. A chocolate one. I hope you like them.
I love them, but I'm just terrible with homemade desserts. I can't handle such sticky dough without making a mess.
Oh, well, take my word when I say this dough is very sticky.
Marie, I will need your web key.
A key? I'm sorry, but I gave the spare one to the plumber who's fixing the leaky sink.
No, I mean the passcode for the internet connection.
We don't have internet. There's not even a computer in the house.
Then the line I discovered must be somewhere nearby. I'll leave you for now. An eagle with its eyes bugging out. Funny. Threatening. The teeth seem real. It looks like a potholder with eyes. Maybe of African origin. It's really unsettling. It has a fabulous mane. I can't resist. I have to caress it. To the touch, it reminds me of the hemp fiber used by plumbers. It looks Aztec or Incan. It's not really my field. I have to find the origin of the Wi-Fi connection that I tracked earlier. Nothing here. I should move. That's it. I'm receiving a weak signal.
What's this I see?
Oh no! Did I make a mess? I was concentrating on the phone and...
Not at all. It's just that I never saw such a dazzling smile. Except when I look in the mirror.
Oh, please, it's one of them. Sorry, I have to go now. I mistook you for an acquaintance of mine.
So what? Can't we get to know each other? I'm Beniamino, gorgeous.
I'm Alice. What a promiscuous man. I'll have to prepare myself to deal with his advances. Did it ever occur to you to talk to Professor Visconti?
Ooh, that fossil? Stop joking.
The professor is a serious scholar of the occult.
That professor's a big dope. That's what he is.
Do you know if there's an available internet connection nearby?
There's nothing free around here, but the guys upstairs have Wi-Fi. You can get there through the front door. They always leave it open.
You don't happen to know the password, do you?
Nah, I'm not a tech nerd. I got other interests.
He has the hungry eyes of a prairie coyote. I see you really care about your car.
I need to make my mark, baby.
Make your mark?
With the chicks. Babes like you. You know, if they see you coming with a hot rod like this, and with tinted rear windows...
I wish I never asked.
Oh, don't be shy. You want to go for a ride?
I get carsick. I bet you work out a lot.
Oh, you noticed, huh? Check this out.
Not every woman cares about muscles.
Sure, but it's still cool if I pick up half of them.
See you soon.
Later, Tufty.
I'm pretty sure the Wi-Fi signal Beniamino was talking about comes from in there. I can't lift the shutter. The vent draws in the external air, which is then cooled down and fed back into the house. Something terrible is coming up from that manhole. The big guy is using it to wash his car. I'm starting to formulate an idea. Inserting the hose into that stinky manhole and connecting it to the vent I saw earlier. The air conditioner would draw in the bad smell, causing the house owners to open the window to ventilate. I have to convince Beniamino to let me use his hose. Hey.
Hiya, girl. What do you need?
I need your hose.
Holy cow. You blurted out just like that? Off the bat?
The rubber hose.
It sounded weird. I'm using it now, though.
But the car is clean enough already.
Nope. Gotta make it shine like it's brand new. Even though I really don't want to today, it needs to be done.
I really need that hose so I don't waste time, but I have to find a way to convince Beniamino. Judging by that ticket for illegal parking, I'd say that law enforcement here is much more efficient than I was led to believe. Judging by that ticket for... I did some research before leaving. The arrow down indicates that the no parking sign is valid to this point. With an upside down arrow, however, the sign is valid from this point on. Clear and clever signposting. The muscular guy's car. Ugh, the tinted windows give me chills. Normally, I don't pick up everything I find, but a bit of aluminum could come in handy. I wonder why they left an adjustable wrench to fasten that tube. I wouldn't know what to tell her at the moment. The muscular guy's car. The muscular... That guy is completely into his body. Let's see if I can dig under that heap of muscles. Judging by his behavior, I'd say Beniamino is anything but bored. I rather think he's enjoying the day and that he loves washing his car. It appeals to many guys. Something I can't really relate to. Not that I have a car to wash, of course, but if I did, I don't think I'd like spending the whole day on... Come on, Alice, focus! I need to borrow that hose, but Beniamino won't stop using it while he's in such a good mood. And I do believe that stirring up some sort of trouble with his car would be the best way to ruin it. I'll take that ticket despite every ethical objection. Yes, I'll modify the parking ticket with the corresponding plate number. Let's launch the photo editing software. I delete the old plate number, insert that guy's plate number, and there you have it. Perfect. I'll send the modified picture to the printer. Et voila! A fresh ticket hot off the presses. I wonder why... It's well tightened to the pole. It might be useful. Oh no, what a mess. I can't take it until I find another way to plug the leak. To the touch, it reminds me of the hemp fiber used by plumbers. It has a fabulous mane. Great. I just vandalized personal property without giving it a second thought. Lars has influenced me more than I expected. I know it may sound strange, but can I have a bit of that dough?
I'm sorry, my dear, but I can't give you any.
But I need very little, Marie.
It would damage the proportions. I'm very precise about these things.
I get it. I'll manage some other way. Think, Alice. What would Lars do in your place? No, better seek a less drastic solution. I'm sorry for doing this, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I'll set the timer for 30 seconds, and then I'll disappear faster than light.
Jesus be praised. What happened to the microwave?
By now, the damage should have been done.
Alice, dear, I have bad news.
Has something happened?
The microwave suddenly went crazy, and in the attempt to turn it off, I let the dough be ruined. I'm afraid I won't be able to prepare that cake I promised you.
Don't worry, Marie. The important thing is that nothing serious happened. I would have never forgiven myself. It's so sticky, it's almost glue. Marie, since you can't finish the cake, can I use this dough?
Go ahead. I'd have to dump it anyway. At least it will be good for something.
Yuck. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, dear. Although I would have preferred that you eat it.
A good idea to ruin Beniamino's day. Beniamino only has eyes for his car. He didn't notice anything. Let's see how our Latin lover reacts. Say, isn't that Pamela Anderson?
Who? The Baywatch babe with those 2 built-in life buoys? Where'd you see her, huh?
Oh, dang.
Sup, doll?
Look. They gave you a ticket for illegal parking.
What?
It's true. It's right there on the wiper blades.
What the? How did they find me if I was right here?
They're getting better and better, aren't they?
A perfect day ruined by a ninja traffic cop, and I didn't even see Big Pamela. Listen, leave me alone. I gotta blow off some steam.
Now I should put the other end of the hose on that railing, but I really doubt I have enough strength. I know it's not the best time, but I need to ask you a favor.
Come on, I already told you I don't want to do nothing.
I know, but could you really refuse to help out a nice damsel in distress?
No. That I'll never do. I have an ethical code with the chicks. What do you need?
Since you're not using it, could you throw the rubber hose on that railing up there?
How do you spend your time? What do you say we, get the car and go discover the wonders of Rome? Or my own?
Are you afraid you can't do it?
Alright, you win. Give me that hose and I'll throw it to the moon and back. What a throw! Next year they'll put me in the Olympics.
Congratulations! All those push-ups were useful after all. Nasone 1984. Italian for big nose. If I'm not mistaken, that's what the Romans called their water fountains. Nice. The web key is correct. And here's our sulky little fellow. I'm sending Lars a text with the coordinates and... Help! But what?
Agile, snappy, reliable. Since we started working together, I have never been disappointed. And you should see those breathtaking curves.
I have to remind you, my son, that lust is one of the 7 deadly sins.
But I was talking about my bike. Now, if you'll excuse me, Father, I'll proceed with my sightseeing. I had just received a text message with the coordinates for De Vilta's house. Alice took longer than expected. Well, after all, she was all alone in Rome. But what? My green dart? Oh, that's absurd. A clamp?
Well, that's to be expected. Didn't you see the no parking sign?
A no parking sign for bikes?
That's supposed to be a bike? I thought it was a scooter.
The traffic warden must have thought the same. I didn't even get to try the new assisted acceleration system.
Oh, it's a true disaster. You really could use a hand. A hand from someone who knows how to get around here in particular.
Okay, I take the hint. State your conditions.
You, met the librarian, right?
Gaia. Very cute.
Yeah. What kind of chance do you think someone like me could have with her?
Do I have to be honest?
Watch what you're saying, mister.
Wait. Do you mean I should repay your courtesy by helping you to win her over?
If you succeeded in such a desperate undertaking, I'd be grateful to you for the rest of my life.
Okay, give me time to make something up. As absurd as it may seem, I found myself thousands of miles from home organizing romantic liaisons. On the other hand, Oliviero seemed like a good guy. Besides, to tell the truth, I wanted to do something good. See you later. They were perfectly integrated with the square. Ancient, but well preserved. They would have stalled me to talk about the old days for hours. That was Gaia, the pretty town librarian. Hi. So, what do you like to do when you're not here in the library?
Well, I do like the cinema.
Oh, you're a cinephile.
A cinephile, if anything. Cinephiles are dog lovers. Anyway, no, I wouldn't call it a passion. I go often just to please Olive.
I realized that Oliviero was stuck in one of the bleakest and most depressing places in the world, the friend zone. Anything else? I don't know, evening strolls by the sea, exotic food, stuff like that.
Excuse me, but are you hitting on me?
No, I swear. I mean, I'm just passing through, and,
Come on, relax. I was just pulling your leg. You turned red as a beet.
let's talk about Oliviero.
Oliviero? What should we discuss about him?
You know him long?
Well, we went to primary school together. I tried to read in peace, while he did nothing but pull my hair and run. I hated him.
Us guys tend to improve once we grow up.
Not in his case. He always has his head in the clouds, plans stupid jokes, gets into trouble. He's a lost cause.
Hey, but you two...
You're funny, Lazarus, but this is my business.
I gain nothing, apart from the usual embarrassment. How did Alice always put it? Carefully observe who's in front of you. Every detail could be relevant. Take care, Gaia. I leaned out and managed to read the title on the cover. Phalanta. I supposed it was Greek, but I didn't know what it meant. Hi. What are you reading?
A botany book.
Are you kidding me?
It's funnier than you might think, and it's full of illustrations.
I prefer shooting, pirates, or stories about cowboys and Indians.
I like flowers. I love studying them. I love collecting. I love picking them. And the scent they leave on your skin is simply amazing.
What if Gaia's love of flowers was also the key to her heart? It was worth telling Oliviero. Take care, Gaia. Hey, Oliviero. I know how to reach Gaia's heart.
In such a short time?
The answer is as effective as it is predictable. Flowers.
Flowers? Maybe 20 years ago that would have been a brilliant idea. But nowadays, girls go crazy for smartphones or luxury cars.
Listen to me, Knucklehead. Right now, Gaia is sitting at her desk with a book in her hands. I asked what she was reading with such interest, and she answered,
"Oh, it's just a book about flowers."
"Do you like them that much?" I asked, and she...
Bucatinis maniccati. Oh, I love flowers.
So your idea might just be less moronic than your hat.
The light just went on over your head.
I know a place not very far from here where a wild orchid grows that is very rare and beautiful.
What are we waiting for? Lead the way.
Come on, Lazaro. Off we go.
So much, we're just around the corner. We went deep into the dark forest.
A few hundred feet and you're already out of breath? Anyway, there's the flower over there. on that rocky ledge.
It's pretty high. How can we pick it from down here?
I have no idea. That's why I brought you.
All right. How difficult could it be, after all?
If you need a hand, let me know.
What a huge tree.
You're an excellent observer.
I must admit, it is a nice flower.
The most beautiful in the area.
The tree could be useful in reaching the orchid.
I foresee trouble.
It's another one of those moments.
What kind of moments?
The one in which I risk my neck. Give me a hand climbing onto that branch.
Hey, are you sure? It's really high.
Don't worry. I'm very close to being a licensed parkour expert. But who?
Never mind. It's just Tekla. Shall we proceed?
I couldn't get there. I couldn't even climb along the branch or I'd have risked breaking it. Wow, what a fall. I'm still alive, thanks.
And no orchid.
Let's try again.
It's your neck.
Olive could give me a hand to increase the tension of the branch, but at the moment he couldn't reach it. It was up to me to get it. Olive could give me a hand to increase the tension of the branch, but at the moment the branch got just a few inches from the orchid. Olive, I have an idea. Hold the branch as far as you can, and then release it suddenly.
We did it, Lazaro.
In the end, it only cost me a couple of sprains and a hairline fracture to the sacrum.
Gaia will be thrilled about the flower. It's just that...
What's on your mind now?
Now that I have this flower at my fingertips, I realize that it is too easy. It can't be enough with something so insignificant. Damn Tekla and her snake.
Tekla's snake? Hey, no, wait, what are you talking about? No dice. Oliviero seemed to be in a trance and disappeared among the branches without even bothering looking at me. I might as well pick the orchid, after all the effort I did to get it down. Come back immediately! That crisis put me at a crossroad. I could continue to move forward, ignoring what was happening to me, or finally accept the evil that was devouring me, yes, and fight until the end. I'd start by grilling Oliviero. Can you tell me what the hell just happened?
I decided to be realistic. I'm absolutely unworthy of a girl like Gaia. I first need to finish my job.
What job are you talking about? Does it have to do with that snake you babbled about in the clearing?
I never told this to anyone other than Tekla.
What are you two involved in?
This is personal business. Leave us alone.
As I suspected, Oliviero had something to hide, and my intuition suggested it was linked to my case. I really needed to talk to this elusive Tekla. At least Olive was a man of his word and removed Green Dart's clamp. Now I could reach the Marquis de Vilta's house to try and get a permit for Castle Sanctus... Anyway, for his castle. Ads of various kinds, missing pets, dental practice, tours of San Leo aboard a helicopter. Wait a minute, a helicopter? Was it possible it belonged to the very person I was trying to track? The ad displayed an address, and on the bottom an additional note. The tour of Castle Sancti Leonis is cancelled due to permit revocation. Giving the orchid to Gaia personally would have been risky.
Move along, move along. There's nothing to see here.
It looks like there's an ancient medieval castle, actually.
You see wrong. This is private property, not a tourist attraction. And now, move along.
Immediately got it. That dude would be a real pain in the neck. I lurked near the house until I saw De Vilta leave in his vintage car. In the meantime, I had also recovered the tracking bracelet. That thingy proved itself to be very useful. The house was protected by a numeric code. Then again, I didn't expect to find the door open. The glass door was protected by a lock with a numeric keypad. The screensaver showed an aquarium. Couldn't you just buy a real one instead? The reflection from the TV prevented me from understanding what was portrayed in the photo. Who knew if the universal remote control trick would also work on that device? Bingo! I pressed the buttons on the remote control again, but I soon realized the sad truth. My purebred pony had kicked the bucket for good that time. It had been a faithful sidekick, but now it was time to part ways forever. So that pompous dwarf was married. Maybe that could be my key to entry. Hello? Hey, is anybody there?
I don't think I said come on in.
Are you crazy? You could have killed me.
If I really wanted to kill you, I wouldn't have missed the target. What do you want? I'm not buying Bibles or vacuum cleaners, so if that's why you came, I suggest you leave the house before I sit down. At that point, I could decide to improve my aim. You're still here?
Do you always welcome your guests like this?
I never receive guests. At most, clients. Are you a client?
It was Oliviero who referred me to you. He claims you might know something about getting permission to access Castle Saint something.
That pompous Marquisaster. I wanted to organize a tour that ended with a visit to the castle, but he refused to sign this useless piece of paper.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you have a permit?
I never throw anything away. Especially a nice piece of paper. You know, for when you're in the middle of the woods and nature calls.
Can I have it? I need it urgently.
Do you need it right now? I have some toilet paper in the bathroom.
No, I need it to get into the castle.
Ah, I don't have any use for it. But I don't think you'll be able to get it signed. That small-time noble only pays attention to those who have the same color blood as him.
Blue?
Black as pitch.
I also need to ask some questions. I saw you pass by in a helicopter earlier.
So what?
It's not something you see every day. Besides, I got the impression you were looking for something.
You're wrong. I was just taking a sightseeing tour of the area.
Tekla just offered up a nice lie. Tell me about the snake.
You should have asked my father. My area of expertise is flora. Fauna is just a secondary pastime.
You know full well what I mean. Not long ago, Oliviero cited a snake as he cursed you. And I'm pretty sure you know what he was talking about.
And yet I don't have the slightest idea, all right?
Lie number 2. Do you know anything about Duke Cagliostro?
You mean Count Cagliostro.
Uh-huh. Then you do know something.
They talk about him in town all the time, but that doesn't mean anything.
That's enough. I don't need to have studied kinesics like Alice to know that you're blatantly lying.
I don't know what you're talking.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you do. Since I got here, both you and Oliviero have done nothing but talk in riddles. Initially, I just thought you were being coy towards a stranger, but now I'm convinced. You two are hiding something.
Who are you, really? And what the hell do you want from us?
I knew I had to give something if I wanted to get something. All right, let's dispense with the disguise. I'm not a tourist. I'm a detective on the trail of a sect of lunatics. I still don't know why, but my investigation led me right here, to San Leo, in the footsteps of Count Cagliostro.
A detective. Are you kidding me? Looking like that?
You're free to check my credentials with HPD in Miami. Now it's your turn. Tell me what you're up to, and what Cagliostro has to do with it.
You were convincing, but I still can't trust just any guy who comes here and purports to be a great detective. I'll have to do a background check. Let's talk again this evening, at nightfall, in front of the fortress of San Leo. And now get out of my place before I really lose my temper.
Father Carlo left.
You just missed him. You'll find him around the corner, at the Church of St. Francis in Verma.
Good to know. As much as it might seem absurd, he could be able to help me. The church was exactly like I expected it to be. Colorful and bright, but austere. I wasn't exactly an expert, but it looked very ancient. The plaque identified the figure as St. Leo, patron of the city. I imagined someone more muscular and fierce. That stained glass window successfully achieved its purpose, inspiring awe and peace at the same time. Hello, Father Carlo. Lucky I found you.
Forgive me? What do you mean? Were we playing hide and seek with the children of the oratory?
No, I meant... Wait, are they playing hide and seek? I love hide and seek.
Do you need something?
Oh, yes, definitely. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Ask me? Are you sure?
Absolutely not. Have you got any documents for the wedding celebrated in this church?
Certainly. How else could I remember all those names and dates?
Perfect. How much do you want to let me look at the data related to the wedding of the Marquis de Vilta?
We men of faith haven't engaged in such things since the scandal of selling indulgences, my dear Giacomo. De Villa? De Vilponi? De Vilta, 23rd of November 1992. Oh, but here I read about a divorce a few years later. How unfortunate.
Father, you just gave me some vital assistance. See you later, Father. De Vilta hadn't returned home yet, and I had the feeling he would stay out a long time. Finally, inside. The library was well stocked with classics and ancient architecture books, but I couldn't see anything that would be of any interest. The lamp was battery powered and looked like it was easily transportable. There it was, right there in plain sight. De Vilta's signature. The canvas revealed two things. The first was the total absence of talent of the Marquis. The second was the void the divorce must have left in him. Everybody suffers, after all. The signature on the canvas could have been just what I needed. That form, once signed, would guarantee access to the De Vilta castle. The lamp would make the canvas more transparent, facilitating the forging work I had to do. Even De Vilta himself wouldn't have noticed the counterfeiting. With the correctly signed form, I could finally access the infamous Castle Sancte Leones. Hey, I eventually learned the name.
You again? If I'm not mistaken, I gently suggested that you vanish.
I don't think that will be the case.
But what? How?
And now, gently lead the way.
This way.
But did Lake let you enter?
Sure, I have a regularly signed permit.
That's incredible. Go ahead.
Hey, you.
Yes?
I warned Mr. Beringler about your arrival, and he seems unhappy about it. Very unhappy.
And you? Aren't you happy to be in my company?
If you don't shut that mouth of yours...
What's all this commotion? Lake, I told you to show our guest in. Mr.?
Bundy. Lazarus Bundy. I have a form personally signed by the Marquis de Vilta.
Please have a seat in my office.
See you soon, my friend.
It doesn't end here.
Would you like a drink?
I don't drink, thanks. At least I was able to spare myself that vice.
Good for you. Then, Mr. Bundy, I feel it's necessary to clarify some points. I am Walter Beringler, the curator that the Marquis de Vilta has designated to manage his property. As such, I can't help but ask, how did you get a permit to access the building?
I had been provident enough to come up with a good excuse for just such a possibility. Well, let's just say the Marquis and I have some business together, of which I can't openly talk about. Just know that I arrived here in San Leo with but a single aim. Spend the little fortune I've accumulated these last few years.
Fortune coming from?
Oh, well, I'm a partner of a company dealing mainly in boats.
Boats?
The Moles Bear Company in Miami, to be exact. You have no idea how profitable that sector can be. I strongly hoped he didn't check my credentials. On the other hand, even if he did decide to check, he would need time, while I intended to complete my investigation as soon as possible.
Well, if the Marquis has decided so, I guess there's nothing else to do. But please, pay special attention. This castle is very ancient, and as such, delicate.
I'd be like a child in an Egyptian museum. That is to say, I would snoop around everywhere, and occasionally break something without being seen.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must ask you to come back tomorrow morning for your visit. It is now evening, and we have to close.
I didn't realize it was so late. The appointment with Tekla and Olive occurred to me immediately. I had to hurry if I didn't want to miss them. They're late. I hope they hurry up. I don't feel at ease here.
I don't have any hostile intentions.
Said the guy who just came out of the darkness dressed like a plague doctor.
I'm glad to finally meet you personally.
Give me a valid reason why I shouldn't rip that mask off and smash your face.
I can list a few. First of all, you can't be certain you're capable of it. But the main reason is that you're curious to hear what I have to say.
Huh.
Well, now that I have your attention, I'd say we can start. Until now, you've done a very good job. The lead that took you from Miami to San Leo was very weak, and a less resolute man wouldn't have traveled so far from home.
Or a less desperate one.
You're very frank.
And you have proven to be smart. And a smart man knows perfectly well how dangerous a desperate man can be.
I won't underestimate you as Radwed is, though, rest assured.
Speaking of Radwed...
Radwed is the withered petal that risked letting the entire Rose die.
Rose?
Now we have more pressing questions to face. First of all, your mission here. Maybe you still haven't fully realized how many things we must bring to light.
I can sense that there is something huge under my feet.
The lost seal of Count Cagliostro.
Lost seal?
An ancient symbol lost for centuries, that I searched for my whole life without success. It's the reason I chose you. I'm compromised, but you're free to move. You're alert, and you're motivated enough.
That's all? You could have found tons of detectives like me.
Touché. There's another reason, but we'll talk about that later. Now, I have another question for you. After which, you can decide if you still want to smash my face or not. You couldn't have made it this far alone. Have you been helped?
No. Everything I did on my own.
You're very trustworthy. You'd never betray your companions. Excellent. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must leave. I have a train to catch. A train that will take me to Rome at the first light of dawn.
You!
Don't wear yourself out. Don't fight the smoke. Welcome it. Make it yours. Take a deep breath. What you've just inhaled is, of course, a powerful sedative, but also something else. Let me tell you why I chose you. I can cure.
Here we are, Lamberto. I told you to call me when you wanted to go down. That vase you broke was a rare piece from your collection.
You gave us a real scare, Professor.
Who are you?
I'm Alice, Professor. It's an honor to meet you in person.
Alice, like the heroine from the cartoon.
The cartoon came after the books. How do you feel, Professor?
Confused, like I've been sleeping for months.
I'm making dinner in a bit, my dear. Of course, consider yourself a guest of the professor. We'll think later about how to get him back to his room.
How come?
The ramp is old and battered. After being used, it takes hours before it will run again.
Maybe I can take a look in a while. I'm not an electrician, but I know my way around. Professor, getting back to us, the reason I came here is to ask for your help. But to do that, I have to show you something. Professor, what can you tell me about this little mirror?
Put that away!
Do you recognize it? Can you tell what's so special about it?
Yes, but at this moment, I'm confused, like I've been sleeping for months.
Take all the time you need, Professor. Reorganize your thoughts.
Yes, reorganize thoughts. My head. I'm starting to, something. A war? Ha! The fleet! Invincible! It was invincible!
What, Professor? What was invincible?
My room, Take me. My room.
Do you want to go back to your room?
My room!
Marie, is it a problem if I go upstairs to take a look? I could try to repair the lift platform's control unit.
Well, if that is what the professor wants, I don't think I have any say in that.
Thanks. Such a peculiar room. This must be the broken control unit. At first glance, everything looks fine. If I really want to understand what's wrong with it, I'll need to manually verify all the connections. I will also need something to restore the faulty pins once identified. The voltage tester could be useful for repairing the control unit. Those aluminum remains. I could use them to restore the broken electrical connections. Perfect! Now I can control the tension of the electrical connections with the tester, and then temporarily fix them with the aluminum sheets. I did an initial check, and it seems these are the pins I have to focus on. I managed to obtain these 3 usable sheets of aluminum, with which I'll restore the necessary connections. All right, now it should work fine. Let's hope the professor can give me a hand somehow. Brace yourself, Professor.
My beloved.
Your bedroom. Are you happy to be here?
Here, it's where I work. I worked. The thoughts come and go.
Is there anything else I can do to help you?
My safe. Find it, and I opened it, and.
Do you mean this strange bas relief in your library?
Who are you, and what do you want?
I'm Alice, Professor. I'll take care of your safe. If I can. The safe will surely be protected with a combination. Maybe I'll find some clues here in the room. It depicts the Egyptian pyramids at sunset. It's very suggestive. Who knows what those symbols on the upper left mean? I'm not an expert in languages, but they look to have a certain logic. It's a portrait of Professor Visconti. He must be at least 10 years younger here. He was an extremely fascinating man. It makes me sad that I only met him now that he's so empty. The items in the backgrounds were painted with a special contrast that makes them stand out. I don't have to analyze the professor. The figures to insert seem to be associated with clear geographical references. It can't be a coincidence. Reading upside down, a change in perspective. 25 essays about the end of the Chinese world. The dangers of summoning evil, Eastern demonology. Am I wrong or am I getting reactions? Huan Di, concentric circles in the lake of molecular science. 1985, the year of the comet, a study of Zhu Ling. 2D versus 3D, adventures of the past were better? Yes, I'm pretty sure of it. The professor is reacting to the titles I read. 2D versus 3D. Qin Huangdi, unification of Chinese dynasties. Esoteric philology of the Orient from 1500 to the present. The Four Faces of the Yellow Emperor. Tanabata Matsuri, the Festival of Stars. Legends on the origin of music. Legends. Neja and the Cosmic Wheel. Ho Yi and Chang'e, the Goddess of the Moon. Wudang, the Sacred Mountains. Professor, let's see what you can tell me.
Talk, speak.
I'm sure of it. While his hand movement is involuntary trembling, the eyes and mouth gestures are hints that the professor is unconsciously giving me. The eyes could indicate the direction toward the right book, while the angle of the mouth might suggest the vicinity. In this case, I would tend to follow the normal rules. Mouth curled in a smile means I'm getting closer, and vice versa. The 10 Essays of Li Jian. Mysteries of the Orient in 68 Historical Tales. Basic numerology. The number 23 is just one of many. Streams and energy knots. Metaphysics or applied science. The 220 Lost Languages of India. Map of the Elements of Krishnel III. Great Minds from the 2 Golden Centuries. The Only Truth Behind the Mirror, Chinese Philosophy. The Terracotta Army of the First Emperor Qin, the 71 Most Famous Legends. The 70 Beads of the Franciscan Rosary. "15 Possible Interpretations of Voynish's Manuscript." Rome's Colosseum is unmistakable. An Egyptian Sphinx. It must be such a fascinating monument. I did it! Well, as expected, there's a lot of money. I don't think I've ever seen so much all at once. And documents. One seems to be in Polish. I can only understand a single word. Cagliostro. I don't know what they're about, but they could help Lars. I'll think of a way to get them to him later. There's also another paper back here. It's in Spanish. Jeez. I can understand little or nothing. It's about something that happened in the 16th century. The Invincible Armada?
That's the Invincible Fleet.
The professor is upset. What the hell did Lars and I get into? I have to talk to Marie. I hope I didn't unsettle the professor too much. And he was very alarmed. I'm afraid I made him overexert himself.
Don't worry, dear. He'll recover. I know he doesn't look like it, but Lamberto is a tough guy.
You two must be very close.
And you must be very tired. And it's already evening outside. So now I'll prepare the guest room for you.
No, please. I'll find a B&B nearby and...
Nonsense. A good night's rest is exactly what you need, and I don't want to hear one more word.
All right, then. You're too kind, really.
Now, why don't you go wait in the professor's room? You can keep him company while I fix up the room, okay?
Gladly. This time, though, I promise I won't tease him. How are you? Do you feel better?
Yes, better, but I'd love to help you.
You've already exerted yourself too hard for one day. Now you have to rest.
Rest, yes. Tomorrow will be better.
Alice, dear, the room is ready.
I have to go now. I bid you good night, Professor.
Be careful, kind miss.
That's pointless. I won't be able to fall asleep. I might as well get back to work completing my research. All right, the ravings of the professor seem to point towards an invincible fleet. I'll start from there and make a note of all the information that seems relevant. That way, if I happen to lose track, I can just refer to my notes. Really strange. I remember the historical event in question, but not that the Spanish fleet was completely wiped out from storms. I may be starting to get paranoid, but I find it suspicious and unsettling. Interesting, but I don't think it would yield any useful information for the case. That picture in the top right, the item D is holding in his hand is identical to the one I have in my pocket right now. I'm probably getting too carried away, but I can't help but notice that Radwed is an anagram of Edward. The Voynich manuscript. I've heard about it various times and it always intrigued me, but I doubt it is related to my search. The search is too generic. I have to narrow the field down. I'd never heard of it, but it seems dangerous. Nazi UFOs? From what I understand, this is material for the weird cases. It could be relevant to the case, but I need to find confirmation first. Lars claims to have heard whispers coming from the mirror. Maybe it really is a contact with the next world. Oh, I've got chills now. It may be the most famous artifact in popular understanding of alchemy, but I don't think it has anything to do with this matter. Fascinating. These alchemists intended to cross the borders of reality as we know it, and never let themselves be intimidated by anything. They remind me of Lars from a certain point of view. And what's this? The Hand of Glory is an alchemical artifact composed of the dried hand of a hanged man kept in brine. That's gross. According to tradition, the hand gives the bearer total control of whoever is nearby. If correctly completed, in fact, it allows paralysis of everyone in its presence. If correctly completed, who knows what that means? The hand was a tool used in necromancy to speak to the dead or obtain control of the spirits. It seems terrifying, but a few details sound familiar. The dried hand of a hanged man. Is it possible that Molsberg... They are here. I don't have to panic. The documents I found, they mustn't get their hands on them.
What? Thief?
Calm down, Professor. It's just a bad dream.
Oh, good. I'll go back to sleep then.
Quick. There, that's all I can do. And now...
Be still, young man. You took a very bad blow yesterday evening.
De Vilta? But how? What?
You are surely asking yourself what you are doing in my house. But the answer is simpler than you might think. Yesterday, just before evening fell, I received a phone call from an unknown caller. It was a young bartender, Olivaci?
Olivero?
Yeah, him. Anyway, he spilled everything you were doing, including the story of the counterfeit form to me.
That... Judas! Or maybe I should say those Judases. Olive didn't know about the form. I'd carelessly revealed that to Tekla.
I then went to the appointment at the Rocket in his place, determined to expose you.
So, you saw the doctor?
I saw a madman dressed as a crow, and I thought it was better to hide and try to understand what was happening.
Okay, but why didn't you call the police?
To report an assault by a guy with paranormal powers? I thought it would be appropriate to rescue you, to ask what was happening directly. I suppose I was also overwhelmed by curiosity.
You made the right decision. Those people don't fool around.
What kind of mess did you get yourself involved in, young man? And what does this all have to do with my castle?
I can't get into details, but you need to believe me. I'm doing all this just to save a child that was kidnapped in America.
That's absurd, to say the least. On the other hand, what I saw tonight is absurd as well. I'll accept your version and will let you walk around inside Castle Sancti Leonis. I just beg you to follow Beringler's directions. That man scares me.
Only then did Alice and the threat of the doctor occur to me. I found 2 messages. The first dated back to the night before, roughly during my fight against the doctor. Alice had found a Polish document that referred to Count Cagliostro. She had even written the entire text through SMS and sent it to me. The second message calmed me down for good. It was from the wee hours of the morning and informed me she was hitting the road to reach me in San Leo. No mention of the doctor. Evidently, Alice proceeded ahead of time without even realizing the danger she averted. Now I have to go, but I could still use some help.
Leave the door open when you go, and come back whenever you want.
So, Oliviero had decided to play hardball. I'll give him a taste of his own medicine. You...
Wait, let me explain.
I don't know who you think you're dealing with, but now I'm really pissed off.
Whoa, what are you planning to do?
Shut up and follow me, and no sudden movements. A shot might go off.
What is this charade?
This is a crazy killer! He wants to shoot me!
I really want to see this. Come on, shoot!
Bang!
Ah! But, what? I can't believe I fell for that. Did you know?
You can see the shape of the finger from miles away, dope.
You two nearly compromised my investigation, and now I want to know why.
We can't trust anyone. Don't you get it?
Are you going to listen to me, chump? I said, and I'll repeat it, my sources confirmed his version. He really is a former detective from Miami. We've been stuck on this search for months now. I say let's try.
All right, then. Let's follow your instinct.
How about you start from the beginning and tell me what's going on here, backward and forward.
A while back, we went into the forest on an excursion. It was a perfect night for an excursion, thanks to the full moon illuminating the path. Everything was going perfectly, when suddenly we stumbled onto something unusual. The tracks of an animal that, judging by the print, had to be huge. Tekla claimed she had never seen anything like that.
And what did you do?
Tech decided to follow the tracks, but I didn't feel like going with her. I mean, a huge beast with a full moon? I told her I would manage alone, and I let her go. After 5 minutes, I was already lost, cold and frightened.
You're the antithesis of an adventurer.
Then, out of nowhere, I came across something unexpected. Something that has tormented me ever since. It was an old casket, hidden inside a hollow shaft.
And did you open it?
Sure, what the heck? Nothing remotely interesting ever happens to me. It contained some ancient dossiers. I took a quick look, but they disintegrated in my hands in just a few seconds. The only thing left intact is a strange piece of scroll that we've been trying to decipher ever since.
There's something that doesn't fit. How did those documents end up in San Leo if the Count had been dragged there by force?
Maybe they weren't left by the Count himself, but by the Polish soldiers who moved his corpse in 1795.
Polish soldiers. Just like in the document Alice found. Look here, Tekla.
Yes. It's not exactly modern Polish, but it's understandable. It seems like the testimony of one of the soldiers. Apparently, they uncovered the Count's corpse buried in the bare ground, with his head resting on a rock and a towel covering his face. In this passage, Cagliostro is called Master of the Rose. Again, with these damned flowers.
The Rose. It's not the first time I've heard about it, and I suspect it won't be the last.
With his body, they found some relics, which they hid, then transcribed the directions to locate them on a scroll, which they divided into 3 parts. The first was entrusted to the local priest, Father Alfredo, who swore to hide it in the safest possible place, protected by the wings of the eagle.
A sort of riddle or puzzle. I'm getting used to it.
The second group of soldiers, however, was confronted by a contingent of knights in the pay of the De Vilta family and exterminated. The last piece was closed in a trunk and buried near an easily recognizable centenarian tree.
This must be the one we found. We already have the first piece.
Well, I wouldn't be so sure of that.
What do you mean?
Yesterday morning, I went for a helicopter ride to fly over the woods looking for the beast.
When we saw you passing by.
Right. My bag could have accidentally fallen down in that area.
What?
Easy, Blondie. I was planning to go retrieve it today, but I'm waiting for the maintenance guy to bring me back my rifle. I don't want to walk around without a weapon with that monster nearby.
Fine, but we can't afford to wait. I'll go recover the bag.
Do as you wish. But take that pickaxe. You'll need it. And make no mistake, I'm not giving it to you because I feel guilty. Not at all.
I didn't know yet at the time, but I should have turned over every stone in San Leo to dredge up those 3 scroll pieces. Hey! Hey man, I'm talking to you! Ah! Stop waving that knife!
Sorry, dude. Oh, you almost gave me a stroke.
It was a really close call.
What are you doing here? Pleasure trip?
I'd say I'm working. And you?
Yes, me too. Wait a minute, damn! In the rush of the moment, I carved too deeply into the cortex. What a disaster.
What are you doing to that poor tree?
I'm analyzing it, dude. I'm Matthias, world-renowned resinologist.
Resinologist?
I don't think that word exists, but saying biologist specializing in amber is too long and makes other people uncomfortable.
What are you listening to?
Oh, it's the hit of the hour. It's great.
Catchy.
I've been listening to it on repeat for days.
See you, Matthias.
Take it easy, dude.
And there it was, Tekla's bag, a cliff away from me. could have reached the other side of the bridge by taking a long detour, but the path was so long that it was barely visible. Although it didn't appear particularly inviting, that bridge was still standing after who knows how many decades. Surely it would hold for another couple of minutes. That was close. But now I had to find an alternate way to reach that bag. Going all the way around was still out of the question. The little tree was clearly dead, and I could see a crack crossing it transversely. I couldn't resist. The movement of the water was hypnotic, and the spray soaking my face delightful. I had read that in areas around waterfalls, the air is better. In the middle of the moss, a small hole stood out that seemed to stretch deep inside the rock. The rope remained stranded on the cliff, a memento of my foolishness in wanting to get across that bridge. Once, when I was a kid, I slipped my head through the bars of a gate. When I decided to back out, my ears got stuck, trapping me. The same thing happened with that tool. I'd never be able to pull it out of there. I always dreamed of making an actual grappling hook. That way I could reach the rocky outcrop, bypass it, and get to the opposite plateau. Why wasn't my brain able to come up with a plan that didn't account for the possibility of splattering on the ground like a tomato? The grappling hook seemed to have found a perfect grip. Maybe things were starting to turn the right way. No, absolutely not. Wrong way. Completely wrong. One last effort. Only in that moment did I notice a change in my body. I had just crossed a ravine and climbed a steep, rugged wall, yet I felt healthy. Is it possible that the doctor's gas produced such a result in me? Or was I just being manipulated again, diluted by a placebo effect? I'd risked a very dramatic death once more, but the bag was finally mine. Of course. An immense trek down awaited me. I remained speechless. The bag had fallen prey to a rapacious pointed beak belonging to a mean face that boded no good. I panicked. As far as having to climb a steep wall and throwing myself into the void, I could still handle things alone. But I didn't know anything about wild animals. Nowak. That's a Polish surname, right?
What are you? An expert on foreign languages?
No, but I've met many people during my investigations. I don't know why, but I always believed my travel would take me to Warsaw someday.
You wouldn't last a second in my country. There are true men there, not little dillweeds like you.
A strange problem arose. I'd almost recovered the bag when I was assaulted by a fierce winged animal.
A winged animal of what kind? Would you be able to describe it?
Let's see. It had a beak, some feathers.
Christusa. I need more detailed information to be able to help you. Take this recognition form, go on site and fully compile it, then come back to me.
Can't you just give me something strong enough to knock it down?
The anesthetics you see on the table are bombs. They would kill it on the spot.
I don't want to hurt it. About the beast.
I didn't find out anything more since our first encounter. The only certain clue I have is that gigantic print that I couldn't manage to identify. I even sent a scan to a friend of mine, the famous biologist who works at the University of Munich. He thinks I'm dealing with a hoax, a reproduction of a print from a prehistoric creature.
It appears to be one of those mythological sightings, like the Yeti or the Sasquatch. I have other things to do now.
Good. Now get out of my hair.
The map of Poland hanging on the wall betrayed Tekla's heritage even more than her surname. I had to submit the results to Tekla.
All right, cretin. If you correctly identified the species with the liquid contained in here, you'd be able to ward it off. Throw the ampoule a reasonable distance from the bird and wait until it can smell the odor.
Fingers crossed. I strongly hoped I'd guessed the species right, and prepared myself to throw another of my curveballs. I'll recover the piece of the scroll once I return the bag to Tekla. Look what I have here for you.
It's about time. Put it next to the fireplace.
And here's one of the scroll pieces retrieved.
Not that this makes you less of a wuss.
And the first piece of the scroll was mine. There were still 2 left. About the scrolls.
Good fences make for good neighbors. You and Oliviero should take care of the scrolls. I'll deal with the beast.
But if you could just...
I'm about to bring out the cutlass from earlier, cretin.
All right, I'll manage. I have other things to do now.
Good. Now get out of my hair.
I glimpsed some vials, but I didn't know what they contained. Hello, Father Carlo. What can you tell me about Father Alfredo?
Ah, Father Alfredo. He was a leading figure in San Leo in the 18th century. A man of unshakable faith, as well as philanthropist and benefactor. His mortal remains reside here, within our ossuary, together with those he deemed worthy of such a privilege. Knights from a distant time.
I was in shock. Carlo had just answered a question of mine. What if the scroll piece was in the ossuary? Let's suppose one wanted to visit the ossuary.
No, I really couldn't oblige the request of this friend.
What friend?
This one you're talking about.
Oh.
I've been appointed by the bishop to personally safeguard the keys, and that is a duty to be followed at any cost.
It was the first time I'd seen Father Carlo so fired up and passionate. I wouldn't be able to fool him with words this time. See you later, Father. Marquis de Vilta?
Oh, it's you. How do you feel, young man?
Better already. Takes a lot more than that to knock me out. There's another reason you didn't report me to Director Beringler, isn't there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
My intuition tells me there's a certain grudge between you two.
You're sorely mistaken.
De Vilta was clearly lying. Do you reckon there's an ancient scroll among the family assets?
No, I don't believe so. I would remember it. Now that I think about it, though, some recent renovation work revealed a wing of the castle that had remained hidden for centuries.
Well, let's suppose I wanted to take a look.
I'm afraid I can't accommodate your request in this case. Safety issues, you understand.
The reason De Vilta offered seemed legit, and yet it didn't convince me. Marquis, tell me the truth. What are you afraid of?
Blech. I wouldn't ever leave control of the family castle to a man like Beringler, believe me. But in the face of certain explicit threats, I could do nothing other than capitulate, under the promise that this was just a temporary situation. Now it's been months that my castle has been in their hands. The same people who attacked you tonight, I presume.
That's why you stopped granting permits for the building.
But now you're here, and maybe you can help me chase them off.
That's what I'd like to do, but I need to inspect the recently discovered area.
It won't be easy. First, you'll need a key to the castle, which I don't possess anymore. In addition, access has been sealed with a security door that's impenetrable without the access code, which Beringler surely keeps as close as possible. If I had to bet, I'd lay it all on his green notebook. He writes down every detail, name, figure, anything at all relevant to the structure, and he's very jealous of it.
I'll take care of that. I assure you that soon these people will be gone from San Leo. Can you tell me anything else about Walter Beringler? I don't know. Weaknesses, fears, passions?
Let me think. Well, he has a sort of strange obsession about the sights he can enjoy from his desk. He made them demolish half a wall to get the kind of view he was looking for.
Huh. That might come in handy. I'm going back to explore San Leo. Amazing. Can I have this vaporizer?
To do what?
Billions of useful and extravagant things.
Suit yourself.
I glimpsed some vials, but I didn't know what they contained.
Hands off or I'll cut them off. That bag contains some powerful hunting anesthetics.
Hunting anesthetics. Cool.
Don't get any ideas. I can't leave them in the hands of a novice.
At the moment, I did. The leopard print tarp was thick and heavy, probably synthetic.
Why are you yelling like that, you lunatic?
There's a mummy inside this niche.
What do you mean by mummy? That's my father.
Did you mummify your father?
I'll only tell you this once. That is not a mummy for my father. The fight with the animal world was an ancient and noble art. He was very respectful of his prey and had them mummified so that their memory would survive.
I think they'd have preferred to just survive. Do you get your passion for exploring the woods from your father?
No, he was indifferent to the fascination of flora. Flowers and plants irritated him.
Tekla,
He thundered from the top of his 6'4" frame.
if I should tragically die before you, don't you dare bring flowers to my grave. Otherwise, so help me God, when we meet again, I'll plant them right up your...
What an exquisite person. I have other things to do now.
Good. Now get out of my hair.
Tekla did mention her father's hatred of flowers. How could I resist such a temptation?
And what's that supposed to be? What the hell is wrong with you?
I thought it might represent an aesthetic improvement.
What the heck? Get out of my way!
The resin would have made the orchid sticky.
Damned flower again. This time I'll cut your hands, cretin. Don't worry, Tata. I'll fix you in a second. Ugh, what's up with this flower? Did it take root? Hey! Lift the tarp right now, cretin.
The mechanism must have been stuck. Give me a second.
So are you going to let me out or what? It's about time.
That way I could have sprayed the anesthetic more effectively. Maybe taking Carlo to a secluded place would help me get rid of him. I have an urgent need to confess.
Sit down, my son. I'll be there in a moment. How long since your last confession, dear Mariano?
Give or take, it might be 20 years?
Good heavens. We have a lot to talk about then. Go ahead and start whenever you feel at ease.
I've stolen things. Of every kind.
For financial reasons?
Nah, not really. I keep facing strange obstacles to overcome. Situations to the point of absurdity that always require a creative approach to solve. For example, a few days ago I had to lock up a hen in a chicken coop to steal its egg and use it to cook some meatballs.
Meatballs? Ah, hunger is a nasty beast.
No, I needed them to convince a grumpy cook to give me a bloody hot. Maybe it would be better to change the subject. I tricked a big baby into believing that my stuffed bear was a panda.
These jokes don't help anyone, you brat.
It isn't a joke. I had to infiltrate an abandoned factory to retrieve some files related to the trafficking of strange magical artifacts.
Come on now, stop pulling my leg.
I beat a woman of a certain age with an adjustable iron wrench.
I beg your pardon?
More than once. In my defense, the woman in question was pointing a gun at me.
God almighty, help us.
And that's all.
On your conscience weighs a heavy burden. But don't despair, because the Lord hates the sin, not the sinner. Now let us bow our heads in prayer, my son. Listen to your heart, and in your deepest soul, repent of everything you've done.
Nice speech, but I had bigger fish to fry. This was the right opportunity to try knocking the priest out.
How weird. Suddenly I...
The signal on the door indicated that Carlo was hearing someone's confession. I hoped it was enough to deter other sinners eager to redeem themselves. Damn, the latch I needed to lock the chain was broken, yet the two ones were so close together. The bracelet would be perfect to secure the chain. Wow. I was gripped by awe for a few seconds, surrounded by death as I'd never been before. Then I realized a huge number of niches in the ossuary. I couldn't defile them all. The dates on those niches matched the period I was interested in. In addition, the names looked Polish. What I was looking for was right there, a few inches from me. I just had to find the right grave. I couldn't see any reference to eagle wings. During the day, the fortress was back to shining, engulfed by its elevated tranquility. It gave me a thrill, though, together with the memory of the fight I had the previous night with the doctor. That panel was a reminder of the four steps the Emperor Sir Bartolome Yankovsky. Eagle wings. Just a second. Father Alfredo wrote that the relic was protected by eagle wings. That was the name of the man I was looking for. One of the holders of the scroll pieces. So Father Alfredo rested in the church ossuary, along with the knights he deemed worthy. I also learned that a fragment of the scroll was entrusted to a particular knight nicknamed Eagle Wings. I no longer doubted it. The scroll piece had to be in the ossuary, specifically in the tomb of that knight. Wow, you became a local hero.
I didn't do anything in particular. I'm just soft. I knew eating all those donuts would be good for something sooner or later.
Judging by his condition, that medkit had to belong to the workman. Among the tools, an unused syringe stuck out. Somebody could get pricked. I look for Bartolome Yankovsky among the names. There he was, the knight who was called Eagle Wings, to whom Father Alfredo entrusted the custody of the scroll, even in the afterlife. But now, how could I open that niche? It wasn't just walled, but further protected by a thick steel sheet attached with some rivets. Something fell off.
It's just a folded handkerchief.
It's because of people like you that the cities are full of garbage. Hey, Oliviero. Let's see if I figured out your plan to conquer Gaia. You want to recover Count Cagliostro's scroll in the hope of...
Chemical formulas. You know what the alchemists were famous for, don't you?
So, you hope to find the formula and use your PhD in chemistry to transmute gold?
I'd become rich beyond all imagination, Lazaro. And at that point, Gaia would fall at my feet.
I'm no love expert, but I don't think it works exactly like that.
You'll see. You'll see.
I could be just a step away from one of the scroll pieces. I'm sure it's in the ossuary of the Church of St. Francis in Verna.
Oh, gross, Lazaro. Do you really want to desecrate a grave full of centuries-old rotten bones?
I'm not particularly excited about it, but it's what I have to do. The problem is that the niche is protected by thick steel plates, tightened with rivets.
I could synthesize a mild acid. Unfortunately, I don't have any fluorocarbon. I can order some from my supplier, but it will take time.
Of course. Can I get it for you some other way?
Fluorocarbon is found in firefighting agents, cooling liquids, additives for motor oil, and even some varnishes. Watch how you extract it, though. Fluorocarbon can be harmful to human beings.
See you later. I wonder if the fire was hot enough to melt the tire. Perfectly insulated. Part of the tire had been liquefied, forming a boiling pool. A brand new air conditioner. Mine, by comparison, produced an effect similar to an icicle in the oven. Olive told me that the fluorocarbon was used as a cooling liquid. I could move it to reach the highest shelves, assuming I really needed to do that. Olive told me that the fluorocarbon was used as a cooling liquid. From under there, though, I couldn't reach the air conditioner. It wasn't moving an inch. Maybe it hadn't been used for a long time. Well, that bomb was viscous enough to lube the wheels. The ladder still refused to move. Now it was time to set aside my elaborate ploys and use a good dose of healthy brute force.
How impetuous. There must be a very interesting book on the upper shelves.
The library was well stocked with classics and ancient architecture books, but I couldn't see anything that would be of any interest. Of course, with the syringe I could extract some fluorocarbon from the air conditioner.
You're very ebullient. I had never seen anyone inject an air conditioner.
Here's your fluorocarbon.
You really managed to find some. You're a wizard. Do you have a suitable container?
Will this sprayer do?
Double glass, central straw, and metal alloy. Right. I can produce an acid that won't corrode it. Give me a few minutes. It's a delicate process. Here we are. A really powerful acid. Be careful. It's very corrosive.
I've kept worse things in my pockets. I found myself face to face with he who was the guardian of the scroll for the last 2 centuries. Apart from the skull, his remains were kept under a shroud depicting a rose over a cross. I was sure that symbol was directing me to something. I could finally get out of that nightmarish place, but not before recovering my tracking bracelet. I had one piece of the scroll, and the next was waiting for me inside Castle Sancti Leonis. I just needed one more.
This shift never ends.
Albert, are you smoking again? Why, you. Every time you force me to risk my neck on these damn slippery steps. I warned you, Albert. Don't say I didn't warn you. Give me those cigarettes right now. And don't make those goo-goo eyes. It's useless.
Have you been working in this building long?
Yes, I'm very competent in this, sector.
How long precisely?
We can say I've held this position for, several days.
Days? You said you were competent.
I'm a quick learner.
What do you think about Director Beringler?
Heavenly days! What an unusual request. Well...
The guard wore a concentrated expression. Beads of sweat gently purled on his forehead. Then he said,
I think he's a good-looking man, yes.
I meant, can you offer any other useful information about him? I don't know, anything that he might like or loathe?
Once, a while ago, I saw him choking on a coffee that the bartender in Dante Alighieri Square recommended to him. A new mixture. Well, it turned out it was infused with the flavor of licorice, which the director can't tolerate. You should have seen how he coughed. He seemed ready to explode.
Very, very interesting.
I agree. That infusion was very tasty.
Tell me everything you know about Count Cagliostro.
Oh, yes. Well, yes. It was in the manual. I remember it.
Thick veins appeared on the guard's temples as he racked his brain. All that intense thinking inspired him to say,
He was a count, yes.
Trust me. Read through that manual again. Why did that guy confiscate your cigarettes?
This job is really monotonous, and I never know how to pass the time, so I smoke. Except I always forget there's a very good fire alarm in here.
Listen to me. Kick the habit. Anyway, I really don't like that bully's attitude. About the castle key. Do you guard it?
No. The director personally locks up the castle every night and reopens it the following morning. He probably gets her at the first light of dawn.
That would be a real impediment. Even if I managed to steal the keys from Beringler somehow, he would surely notice their absence immediately.
Oh, silly me. Lake has a copy too, for emergencies. It didn't occur to me because he hardly ever uses them.
That is great news.
You're very kind to worry so much about the fate of our keys.
Bye. A piece of the scroll was probably hidden back there, but to enter I needed the access code. Plus, I had to get the key to the castle. Hey, Oliviero. If I asked for some licorice, would you send me around in search of something weird?
Just admit that you had fun picking that orchid.
Well, just a bit.
Here, enjoy the taste of true licorice.
You also sell cigarettes, right?
What a question. Of course I do.
Well then, give me a pack.
Any brand in particular?
No. The important thing is that they can be smoked.
You are one weird cat, eh? More than usual, I mean.
Because I was literally terrified. I already knew I'd been sentenced to death, but keeping a pack in my pocket was like carrying around a loaded gun. See you later. The chainmail was as tough and scratchy as a grater to the touch.
What's wrong with you? I should put you in the slammer right now.
You're burning my retinas.
Sorry, I got lost in the role of the bad cop a bit too much. Anyway, this time I'll make an exception.
That guy would not have cooperated, and yet I had to grab the keys of the castle off of him. That guy would not have cooperated, yet I had to... That was a very naughty idea. That's why I liked it. The balm dried instantly, becoming invisible at a quick glance. Hey, look what I have for you.
Are they for me?
Of course. I'm a fervent supporter of workers' rights.
Heavenly days. Thanks a lot.
Albert! Now I'm really sick and tired of you.
Everything fine, dude? Wait, I'll give you a hand.
You think I don't understand that all this has something to do with you?
If I'm not mistaken, I just helped you. I thought...
That would end up being friends? Wait, I'll call Albert too, so we can sit in a circle and sing Kumbaya.
Alright, never mind. I have to admit, Lake was smart, but not enough to stop me, since I had strategically pulled off his spare key. Albert claimed that it was rarely used, so I doubted I would be caught. Perfect. Once I found the security code too, I could enter the closed-off section.
Mr. Bundy, how can I help you?
In all likelihood, that was the notebook De Vilta told me about. I needed to get a peek in it. Can you give me some information about Castle Sancti Leonis?
As the defensive stronghold of the De Vilta family, the structure has always been in the middle of fierce clashes between the local aristocratic families.
Does the Marquis have any relatives?
No, unfortunately, his bloodline runs out with him. Unless he procreates in the coming years, I can't categorically exclude that possibility.
Did you really have to say that? I'll have a picture of that in my mind for days. What is your relationship with the Marquis de Vilta?
Strictly professional. I carry out the task I was entrusted with to the best of my ability, and that's it.
I sense a note of tension.
You're very perceptive. The Marquis doesn't seem to respect my authority, and the living proof of that is right here before my eyes.
The man sounded like he owned the castle. Tell me about the recently discovered area. It was only for a moment, but I noticed a small tremble in the director's pupils. Alice's advice was starting to prove useful.
I'll be frank. I do not think it's appropriate to share classified information with you.
And non-classified information? Let's say, any medieval death traps?
False myths disseminated by trash TV. The Middle Age wasn't the obscure period that exists now in the collective imagination. It was an era full of fervor, of enthusiasm for new discoveries, of brilliant inventions.
Like underwear. Well, I heard that in a documentary. The scenery is really breathtaking.
Isn't it? Admire the wonder.
I leafed through the pages, which revealed themselves to be nothing more than a sort of personal record of Beringler. Inside it, as I hoped, was the code I was looking for. 8154. You have to excuse me now.
Come back whenever you like.
So I recovered the key for the castle and the security code for the closed-off section. I'd wait till the evening before sneaking in. I had 2 pieces of the scroll in my pocket, and the third was waiting for me inside Castle Sancti Leonis. All I had to do was wait for night and sneak in. I was just a step away from the last piece of the scroll. I was finally in the private area, just steps away from the last piece of scroll. Eerie. They had installed some artificial lights, but they came and went continuously. I hope they lasted. I didn't want to find myself in the dark all alone. The door had been unhinged from that walled access at the bottom of the room. The brush for the cannon was long and sturdy. If it was telescopic, I would have put it in my pocket. A soft artificial light came from the hatch. Luckily, because otherwise I'd have to grope blindly to move. That opening reached the surface, letting a feeble natural light seep through. An ancient battered cannon, surely out of commission. The access was walled over a very long time ago, at least judging by its appearance. I couldn't explain why, but in the vicinity of that wall I could sense something. My scarf was moving, as if blown by an air draft. Judging by the direction in which it was waving, the gust of wind seemed to emanate from the walled access. But how was that possible? I touched the wall, searching for the origin of the draft. And here's the mystery explained. A part of the wall had only been roughly constructed. The passage continued downward, disappearing into total darkness. How much deeper did that place go?
Isn't it fascinating?
Oh, good. It's been a while since someone pointed a gun at me.
I must have underestimated you, Bundy. Radwed warned me to watch out for you. Evidently he has more faith in your abilities than I did. Yeah, faith. I want to offer you a confession. I never had much. All that talk of roses and crosses bores me.
What's this rose you all keep talking about?
Useless pseudo-religious fetishes. They're nothing more than fanatics busy killing each other in the name of oaths as ancient as the world. I'm only interested in power, and you got in the way once too often.
It's not the first time I've heard that, and it won't be the last either.
Aren't you curious to know what happened in here?
I see you're anxious to tell me, so why not?
We've been keeping an eye on San Leo for a long time, but we never managed to get to the bottom of its mysteries. Ben de Vilta discovered this section almost by chance. Radwed immediately sensed what it was about, and was able to sneak me in by manipulating the Marquis like a puppet. The piece of scroll was right there in that gallery behind you. An ancient conduit used as an escape route, now forgotten and buried under tons of debris.
The ideal place to hide a treasure map.
A part, at least. But you already know that, right? You found the remaining pieces for us, just like Radwood expected.
Unfortunately for you, I didn't bring them with me.
Now it's you who's underestimating us. If they're not here with you, then we already know where to find what we need. The bartender is harmless, while the Polish woman could be a problem, but I'll take care of that later.
The narrow and tortuous path was preventing Beringler from sprinting fast enough to increase his distance from me, but soon we'd reach a wider road. I had to hurry. The car raced to the max speed allowed on that kind of road. Although I was pedaling to the best of my ability, I couldn't reach the car. Then, the epiphany. The new propulsion system I had installed after the chase with Radwed in Miami. By pedaling fast enough, it would be activated, giving me a nice boost forward. Although I prepared for the leap forward. I wish that old hag Gwendolyn Pratt was there to film that moment of glory. I wouldn't be able to break the windshield. Beringler looked scared. I would have loved to see him in my place. Guys, it was one of the most spectacular falls of my life. I'm lucky I didn't break anything. The bush was providential.
Are you sure that Beringler...
I made sure of his condition, and I even made an anonymous call for an ambulance. Luckily, he wasn't running very fast, given the kind of road we were on.
You're a pair of pussies. If it didn't happen that way, I'd have broken a few of his bones personally.
Have you recovered all the scroll pieces? You even attached them! Is that the lost seal of Cagliostro the doctor was talking about?
I don't think so. Maybe this scroll is what we need to find the seal.
I hate snakes.
We have to inspect it from top to bottom.
The arrow pierces the snake from side to side.
It could indicate a direction, no?
I think so. Well, let's keep it in mind. The snake that bites the apple could be a reference to Genesis.
I wonder how people can believe that a woman was created from the rib of a man. You two combined don't even have half my backbone.
The story of Adam and Eve is a metaphor to teach mankind to be patient and not defy the divine laws without reason.
What do you know about that stuff?
I took a basic theology course as an elective. And to think I chose it only to get 6 easy credits.
So the apple would symbolize a beginning, but a beginning of what?
A snake that bites an apple pierced by a golden arrow.
You're starting to get into it, Tech?
No. It's just that I mistrust snakes. Animals as sneaky and dangerous as they are fascinating.
Huh. Maybe it's the power of suggestion, but it seems to resemble the symbol of the dollar.
You're right. How curious.
What's that writing on the right?
Polish poetry. What are we, the book club?
There must be a reason it's here. Tech, read and translate.
Spying from the highest sky. Peepers.
Be serious.
The soldiers observed something or someone then.
Thanks to the silent indications of the Count.
How can indications be silent? And how could the Count give them indications if he was dead?
He was dead, but he left something behind. The scroll.
So the soldiers used the seal of Cagliostro as directions? Makes sense.
We left the flame-covered safe haven.
Oh, this is strange. How can a haven be safe but simultaneously covered in flames?
I can't think of anything.
Under the threat of the roar of bricks. The roar. The beast.
Let's hope not. You searched for that animal for months without finding any trace.
You're overlooking the most interesting detail. Why a roar of bricks? Good. We must have analyzed everything.
I think so too. But what should we do with these clues?
In my opinion, they are encrypted geographical references. A sort of scavenger hunt.
So we just need to examine a map and...
No, wait. I doubt the Polish soldiers had a satellite map of the area. At best, an unreliable chart. And then there's that opening line. Spying from the highest sky. I think I get what it means. The Polish soldiers found an elevated place. A place from which it was possible to study the landscape.
Highest sky, an elevated place.
Look at them talking about conspiracies and investigations. They almost look like grown-ups.
All right, we need a high place. A place that the Polish soldiers might have used at the time. And I think I know the right one. The Civic Tower of San Leo.
High is high, and it dates back well before the arrival of the Count in San Leo. The problem is we can't enter. Only rarely is it open to the public. Unless...
I was thinking the exact same thing.
What are you looking at, you bump on a log?
Well, we have a complete overview of all the points of interest in our surroundings.
We're admiring the same sights the soldiers who recovered Cagliostro cast their eyes on. Isn't it fascinating?
Very. But now, let's focus. We must find the 3 references we came here for. The roar of bricks, the snake, and the flame-covered safe haven. That mountain over there. Can you tell me anything about it?
Mount Gregorio, a very popular place among hikers.
Hiking. Get thee behind me. No more climbing for today. What's that?
Oh, yes, the Fount of St. Leo. They say it's from the Roman era, and that it was originally used to carry water to the mill in the northern district.
I don't see any mill.
Indeed, it's gone. Oh, I almost forgot. In front of the fount is a statue of St. Leo in copperfoil.
The Palazzo Mediceo, if I have correctly interpreted the brochure Gaia gave me. I don't think it has anything to do with our research. Square Dante Alighieri, the writer of the Decameron.
It was a joke, right?
Well, I must say I'm not especially knowledgeable about literature.
Alighieri is famous for the comedy, you ignoramus.
You mean the Divine Comedy?
Wrong. It was Boccaccio who added the divine to the original title.
See how everything comes back?
You're hopeless.
The panorama is remarkable from up here, right?
Breathtaking. And to think that all these years I was never able to climb the bell tower.
Bell tower?
Yes, a few locals call it that. The one close to the fortress is Cagliostro's well.
Where does the name come from?
They laid down the count's body there while they were carrying it to the burial ground. Even today, people leave flowers there from time to time.
I noticed that arch coming into town.
It's Porta Sopra, famous for its inscription with the passage from Purgatory in which Dante quoted San Leo. One climbs San Leo and descends in Noli, and then I don't remember anymore. I never understood how people managed to recite the Commedia from memory.
The fortress of San Leo, which stands imposing in the valley below. I wonder if that cross...
That's the cemetery, Lazaro. I doubt we'll find any clues there.
You'd be amazed where certain secrets are kept hidden. That road has a peculiar shape. What's that building?
That's the parish of St. Severino.
St. Severino? Who was he?
If I recall correctly, he was an abbot famous for having evangelized a territory that corresponds with present-day Austria.
Austria? I can't find any connection. What can you tell me about that?
The Sant Igne convent. Well, it's old. It's Franciscan. What else?
I don't know. Does the name have any particular meaning?
Now that you mention it, yes. I once read that the name was originally Sant Enya, and only later renamed Sant Igne, the Latin word for fire, because of an alleged luminous apparition that appeared in the 16th century. Sant Igne can in fact be translated as sacred fire.
That's Castle Sancti Leonis, historic residence of the De Vilta family. Olive, maybe I'm deluding myself. Look at that road and tell me if it reminds you of anything.
Hell, you're right! It's the snake!
But the clue couldn't possibly refer to the whole road. Let's check it out more carefully. Look at that circle of trees in relation to the head of the snake.
It looks deliberate. Of course. It corresponds with the apple on the seal of Cagliostro.
So, if that's the apple, we can draw the arrow that pierces the snake. We're doing well, but we still need other references.
Right. For now, we just have a generic direction. We can't fully inspect anything.
So the name of the convent is Sacred Fire. Well, that's it. It must be one of the clues to the symbol. Okay, we have a reference point, but we need another if we want to find a direction. The roar could refer to St. Leo.
I know what you're thinking here. Castle Sancti Leonis. The castle of St. Leo.
It would make sense to describe it as a threat, considering that the Polish knights were chased away by the De Vilta family. And now we found two reference points.
If we link them, we might get a direction.
That's it. That's a spot where the two reference points meet.
We really did it, Lazaro. We found it.
Don't get your hopes up yet, though. You could have made a mistake.
There's only one way to find out.
I wonder how many times I've flown over this area without knowing.
Come on, Lars. You're always last.
I'd like to see you climb with all this junk in your buckets. And, by the way, Olive?
Have you seen anything useful?
Actually, I wanted to tell you that Tekla gave me the orchid back, if you want it.
Still on that? We could be on the verge of bringing a treasure of priceless value to light, and you're thinking about a flower?
You know, I was just like you when I was younger. I wanted to be a big detective, conquer the world, leave a mark. But lately I've come to realize that you can also be happy settling for the little things, while there's still time.
I don't want to settle. I want to become someone. You guys, look here instead.
These carvings go deep inside the cortex. They must be very ancient.
Don't you understand what they represent?
We found the apple. In that moment, I realized I'd already seen that symbol. It was the mark the doctor traced at the Mulsberg residence, at the beginning of everything, the Genesis. This means that down here...
Right under our feet?
There's an old moldy mummy that can't wait to stretch its legs.
Just how you like it, Tech. Maybe we should have brought your father.
How many times do I have to say this? My father is not a...
Guys, which two of you is starving? I can hear the rumbling of your stomach from here.
That's not our stomach, idiots. On the ground. I'll take care of it.
Don't shoot, Tekla. You can make it even madder, putting Olive in serious danger. The beast was remarkable. I was sure it could kill a man with a single bite. He was still confused and suffering from the blow. Whether by luck or experience, Tekla always finds herself in the best strategic position.
Interesting reaction.
Have you got any ideas for getting out of this situation?
I'm afraid normal hunting techniques won't work with this monster. We need to observe its behavior, study it for a while, and find its weak spots.
I noticed that it never takes its eyes off of me.
It must be attracted to bright colors. Maybe it's your scarf that draws its attention.
My scarf, huh? I'll keep that in mind. I'll try to figure something out. Tekla, I have an idea. As soon as the beast is distracted, runs towards Olive and get him to shelter.
Whenever you're ready, cretin.
Olive was finally safe. One step at a time, and we might make it.
Curious.
What are you talking about?
Why doesn't the beast charge you? It was distracted by Oliviero before. But now?
I guess its aim isn't so much to hurt us as to protect something.
A guard animal. The behavior matches. It doesn't want to be led away from the area it has to protect, but it attacks as soon as someone steps on it.
This leads us to two conclusions. The first is that we're in the right spot, and what we're looking for is right at the foot of the oak. Well, the second is very worrying. We have to get rid of that beast if we want to dig. Tech, shoot a tranquilizer.
It could be dangerous. Are you sure?
We've got to try, or we'll never get away from this cliff alive. It looks even more furious than before.
After a shot with this narcotic? No. It should have felt this one. Big time. Enough to slow it down, at least.
That's something. But now you have to take Olive and get him out of here.
Can you handle things alone?
Defeating a raging monster with a scarf. It's a piece of cake for Lazarus Bundy.
I have to admit, cretin, I underestimated you.
Alone again to face death. After all, I've carried it inside me for months now, and I've grown accustomed to the feeling. Despite the dose of tranquilizer and the headbutt, the monster was still standing. I needed to think things through before throwing that last acorn at it. To that point, I'd only managed to make it gain weight for Christmas dinner. The needle couldn't penetrate the acorn. It was the last remaining egg. That was a really great plan. The beast was remarkable.
No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good reason to do that.
It was my last chance to knock that animal out. There were moments of agonizing waiting. I saw the helicopter vanishing in the distance, in the direction of San Leo. Surely Olive would be fine. I couldn't say the same for me. The beast seemed determined to charge, and yet it resisted. Maybe after the previous blow it had learned to fear me.
Hey, cretin! Would you ever have believed that forgetting a shovel would save your life?
I got rid of that beast in an almost miraculous way. Still amped on adrenaline, I started digging the ground at the foot of the marked tree. And finally, right before my eyes, was the coffin where Count Cagliostro had rested for centuries. The weight of history crushed me like an insect. A bit intimidated by what I might find inside the coffin, I tried to move the lid. There was no trace of Cagliostro's body. Centuries had passed, but not so many to justify the absence of any remains. After the initial shock, I noticed another detail. The coffin was completely made of gold. As soon as I picked up the bracelet, the wood on which it had rested for centuries started to react. I'd witnessed plenty of strange things in those days, but this time I was speechless. What kind of power did that tiny object possess? Did it turn everything it touched into wood? While I prayed not to end up like Pinocchio, I was warned by my sixth sense. I felt that there was something else to find inside that coffin. To the touch, I thought I felt a tiny crack. It was too regular to be random. I had never figured out what the second key someone made me find in Miami was for. Was it possible that all that time I'd gone walkabout with a centuries-old heirloom in my pocket? The secret alcove was hiding a medallion with an engraved symbol that resembled a pentacle. I'd seen many of them at crime scenes, but that medallion was slightly different. Plus, it emitted strange vibrations, similar to those of the mirror found on the Citlalique. Whatever its meaning, that was the object I needed to find.
I must ask you to turn around without making any sudden moves, please.
Father Carlo! I can't believe it. So you were involved in all this as well?
Please, don't blame me for this. I have been forced to do everything they ordered me to do. Do you think I'm proud of my actions? That I'm glad to have contributed to the murders of poor innocent souls? I had to deny my faith.
Then why? You could refuse to cooperate.
My sister Marie keeps Professor Visconti under control for them through the use of drugs and infusions. But they keep an eye on her in the meantime as well. If I backed out of this, they would have killed her after inflicting unspeakable torture. They're masters of mental manipulation, and
You're a perfect example of that. I bet you weren't so confused before.
I must not waste time. You have to give me what you discovered inside Cagliostro's coffin. Right now.
I understand. At this point, I don't think I have any other choice. Why do they want this bracelet? What are they trying to do?
The bracelet is able to stop their plans, and they don't want the risk. They desperately looked for it for centuries, slowed down by the disappearance of the scrolls. and that filthy beast left as guard by the Polish soldiers.
It can stop their plans. So there's a hope. You gotta help me. Together we...
You still don't understand. They're in my head, constantly talking, sneaking in thoughts that are not mine. I can hear them even now. Shoot, Carlo. Shoot now. Shoot! I'm sorry.
When I woke up, I instantly recognized where I was. Carlo left me for dead, rotting inside Cagliostro's coffin. The next thought was that I was still alive. I clearly heard the bullet whistling past my ear, missing me by only a few inches. After all, Carlo certainly wasn't a trained killer, and he didn't realize I was knocked unconscious by the hit on my head, not by the shot. My first instinct was to start shouting like crazy, but the little air I had left was too precious to waste like that. The shortage of oxygen was also the reason I couldn't wait for Tekla to come back. I had to move. Father Carlo had ensured I couldn't get out of the coffin. That was a really good idea. My hope suffered a tough blow. The spray bottle spewed only air, and not the liquid squirt I expected. I looked at the device and realized what the problem was. I was forced to use it at a very specific angle inside the coffin, and the straw wasn't able to catch the few drops of fluid remaining. I tried every possible position, but was too restricted in my movements. The magnet wasn't powerful enough to move the straw from the outside, and it was too big to fit into the container. Father Carlo had ensured I couldn't. It was my get-out-of-jail-free card from that suffocating prison. Air. Oh, I can't believe it. Did I really get out of that hole unharmed?
After all the obstacles you've overcome, you still doubt your skills?
How did you find me?
It wasn't him who found you.
All right. Now I'm even more confused than ever.
I told you I would go to Rome, and I must say, I got there just in time.
I already thanked you for saving me, but now we demand some answers.
What is your actual role? And why did you drag me into this madness?
My role is to ensure that events follow the established course, as predicted by the Grand Master of the order to which I belong.
A cult of fanatics.
Galilei, Bach, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Newton, and many others. Do you really want to define them as fanatics?
How should we define them, then?
Brothers, appointed to remove the veil of ignorance from the eyes of fools, to push society towards progress, transmuting this world from vile lead to noble gold. United under the symbol of the rose and the cross.
The rose and the cross again. I'd come across them many times during my investigation, and now that I think about it, Duke Ravendish's company was renamed Fallen Rose.
The Ravendish family has always belonged to us, but the Duke was lost. You contributed to bringing him back to us, to his rightful place. The Fallen Rose, or more accurately, the Rosa Difecta, is nothing more than an abomination, founded by Radwed after he betrayed his faith against us. A twin cult that shares the same ideals, but which, in fact, promotes only self-interest rather than the good of humankind. For centuries, they've been searching for Cagliostro. Fortunately, the Count's grave was discovered by our adepts, the Polish soldiers you tracked down. Radwed and his men hunted and exterminated them, but the scrolls were already safe, hidden until now.
Wait, are you actually telling me that Radwed was already alive in 1795?
He went by the name Edward at the time. Now show me the lost seal.
Sigillum Emeth!
The last still active seal, created by the Grand Master Cagliostro, before he was framed by the conspiracy of the Inquisition and that fraud Balsamo. The only defense you'll have against Radwed and his Hand of Glory.
An artifact with unlimited power, used in the past to unleash the fury of the seas and destroy an entire fleet, the Invincible Armada.
Dee realized he had raised forces he couldn't control and destroyed it. But just think what an individual like Radwed might engineer in possession of such power.
I still don't understand how the baby's kidnapping fits into all this.
We were sure Radwed would use the flesh of the unborn, ripped from the suffering mother, to produce the Hand of Glory. But he must have found another way.
I read that the hand can also be created using the fat of a hanged man who died in hatred.
Molesberg oozed hate from every pore. The little dots are starting to connect, but there's something else. In Cagliostro's coffin, I found a golden bracelet shaped like a snake. And Carlo knew about its existence, and he demanded me to give it to him.
Cagliostro was the bearer of our initiation secrets, and he knew that sooner or later someone would try to bring back the Hand of Glory. Consequently, he created the sigillium as a shield, and the bracelet as a sword.
Are you saying the bracelet is capable of blocking the hand's powers?
That's why the wood of the coffin turned to gold when I removed the bracelet. The ornament had blocked the transformation process. Well, perfect.
What? You just said you had to turn it over to Father Carlo.
I threw him a bracelet. The same one used by Alice to track me down and bring you here, I suppose.
The tracking bracelet?
That thing had been eroded by brackish water, traveled halfway around the world, and it even spent a few hours tied to the tailpipe of a vintage car. It looked like an antique piece at that point. The fact that Carlo isn't exactly a smart guy helped as well.
Surprising. Really surprising. I knew I'd chosen well.
Chosen? For what?
Every master is obliged to personally select the new members of the Order. You're bright, resolute, and at your best, you'd be a valid ally.
But above all, I'm blackmailable.
What are you talking about?
You can't deny you felt very good after you inhaled my gas. Stronger, more vigorous, your lungs saturated with clean air.
Wait, you...
I can make this effect permanent. My initiation gift to you, if you'll choose to join us.
Lars.
Alice, you said the doctor saved you in Rome. How?
He claims that Marie wanted to kill me overnight, so...
So he put her to rest. And that's not all. You knew where Catherine and the kid were from the beginning. You delivered the picture that led us to Radwed's factory and gave me the clues to solve the map on the Site Lalique. You knew everything. And yet you preferred pursuing this crazy quest, rather than stopping Radwed.
Radwed is not an enemy we can face alone. He
knows all your dirty tricks.
I'd like you to reflect well before refusing such an offer. I won't give you a second chance.
Lars, if he can really...
Let's go, Alice.
So be it. May the rose and the cross guide the last actions you'll take in your existence.
Little things, right? See you soon, Lazaro.
Oh, here you are, finally.
Apologies. I went to freshen up and change my clothes.
But you've always worn the same clothes since this whole story started.
Do you think it was easy to find a short-sleeve coat with a hole for letting the scarf pass through? I had to order a supply of them. Besides, you also... Ah, nothing. You look nice, you know?
Anyway, I have bad news. Radwed and his men must have discovered your deception and disabled the tracking bracelet. We know they reached West Rotfield, then nothing.
So, are we stuck?
Not really. Do you remember the doctor's references to the rose and the cross? I started researching the territory using the two terms as keywords, and I almost immediately got feedback. Of course, the source is not exactly reliable. We're talking about conspiracy websites.
Are you referring to Wheelo's blog?
No, a guy named Rupert Saucer, the classic zealot who lives in a trailer isolated from the world. I would usually rule out such a result, but in this case, Saucer claims that in an exclusive local cemetery, the King Lyri, an ancient Rosicrucian temple, is hidden.
Rosicrucian? Is that the name of the doctor's sect?
The information I found refers to a group of enlightened intellectuals of which very little is known. Guess who's listed among the alleged Grand Masters of the Order, though?
Count Cagliostro.
As you would say, bingo.
We'll have time later to investigate the Rosicrucian further, but for now, we have to inspect the King Lyri.
Wait. I think you should keep this.
The scrying mirror. Are you sure?
I don't feel like walking around with some cursed ancient artifact in my pocket. And now let's go.
And so that was the place where it would all end. Maybe miss the brackish air of Miami, or the shining sun of San Leo. Well, let's take a look. No zombification. There must have been a black humor lover around here. Or, at least, I hope that was the case. I wondered if it was linked in any way to the Rosicrucian, but the lack of any iconography suggested the opposite. Unfortunately, it was locked, and I couldn't see anything useful in the side compartment. She wore a beautiful top hat. The hearse was empty, so according to superstition, it wouldn't bring me any misfortune. Or is it the opposite? Alice, let's try to talk to the Undertaker. Good morning.
This must be my lucky day. I haven't seen so many visitors for years.
I thought cemeteries received hundreds of people a day.
Not this one, Beefcake. Only a few people can afford to tread the precious pebbles of the King Lyri.
Beefcake, huh? Well, she had better taste than she looked.
As a result, I'm stuck here alone all the livelong day. It's deadly boring. Do you get it?
Listen, we'd really like to chat with you, but we're in a rush. We're trying to find some crypts, ancient crypts to be precise.
Do you see that tree? Follow that path and you'll find them in front of you.
Thanks.
Hey, wait for me. Wow, this cemetery's got something about it.
The farther we proceed, it gradually becomes more ancient. What's wrong?
I have good news and bad news. Do you see those two near the crypt?
The blonde and the goon? Don't tell me that...
Yep, Eugene and Mama. Radwed's henchmen I faced in Miami.
Ouch!
Hey, relax. This guy's already handled them successfully a couple of times.
No, Lars, you're on my foot.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And the good news?
Well, at least they saved us the trouble of searching for the crypt. It's surely the one they are guarding.
Entering will be more difficult than expected.
Fortunately, neither of them shines with acumen. With the right idea and a bit of luck, we can make it.
We have to find a way to distract them and open the crypt as fast as we can.
A two-phase plan. I like it.
It'll be quicker if we split the tasks. You take care of the crypt, I'll deal with those two.
You're crazy. I can't let you do it. Even if Mama looks like a pig with a wig, she has no scruples. And if she sees you...
Listen, they're forced to stay in the vicinity of the crypt, right? So if I keep my distance, I won't endanger myself. You go back to Quentin's pub and find a way to access the crypt. I'll try to push them as far as possible from the area. From intern to action hero in no time, right?
Alice.
Get out of here before I change my mind.
Be careful, okay?
What's the big deal? Distracting two killers? child's play. A bunch of dry and crispy leaves with the 1,000 colors of a European autumn. The candle is pretty common, but the chandelier is really beautiful. I'll take the wire. She seems like a repressed blabbermouth to me. It's probably just some silliness put there by children, or a smartass. I always get the chills when I see one of these passing by on the road. I guess it's natural. I need to focus. Not a great idea. Have you got a minute?
I have all day if you want.
Can you give me some information on this cemetery?
The King Lyre is a very exclusive place. New families are not allowed in very easily. This stuff is all hundreds of years old. Most of the crypts in here date back before 1600, can you imagine?
How many people work here exactly?
It's just me and Matthew, the janitor and handyman. He doesn't do anything but clean. He never even finds 5 minutes to chat.
Do you know anything about the visitors who are now in the crypt area?
You mean that rude blonde in the company of that big dude? I believe they're hiding a secret.
Are you serious?
Of course. He's her sexual toy boy.
I hope not, or we'd have to add incest to their substantial pile of sins. I'll keep exploring these quiet places.
Always alone.
Better not tempt fate too much and stay away from those ruthless henchmen. A surveillance camera. This one in particular looks defective and captures nothing, but there could be others. I could use them to dig up information on our enemies. I have to access the recordings. Have you got a minute?
I have all...
I didn't think graveyards had such state-of-the-art surveillance systems.
The King Lyre has many ancient tombstones, and some of them are crammed full of jewels or marble statues. A thief could acquire a real fortune in here.
Can I take a look at the video recordings from the last 2 days?
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't let anyone come in. However, I can come out if you like. We could talk about our dreams, about our hopes for the future.
I don't have much of those. I'm just an intern. Ex-intern, to be precise. Time's running out, and I have to check those recordings. I need a way to get the Undertaker out of her guardhouse. I'll keep exploring these quiet. Maybe I can use them somehow. I don't really like this idea very much, but I have no time to take things easy.
Fire! Fire!
We need some water, quick!
There's a little fountain on the other side of the cemetery.
I have only a few minutes. I must hurry. I can't believe my eyes. This camera caught a sunny day in England. Judging by the description Lars gave me, that must be Father Carlo. Further proof we identified the right crypt. This camera is covered by something. Oh no, I didn't realize I was caught on camera. This This distorting effect is horrible. That's why the camera at the entrance doesn't capture anything. It's broken. Here's our 2 henchmen arriving. What's the woman doing? Am I wrong, or is she... Of course, she's locking the car with the remote control. I can hear footsteps getting closer. Better scram. Just in time. So that red car is Mama's and Eugene's. I'm becoming a good detective. Let's take a closer look. Mama left the window slightly lowered. I'd call that a rare stroke of luck. An old trick I saw in many movies with my dad. All right, I'm about to squeeze inside the car of a killer. No one in sight. It's make or break time. These guys are sick. It's closed with a small lock. Another old film noir trick. My God, I haven't held a gun since my years in the academy. Besides, knowing that someone might have been killed by this very one. The handbrake is on and preventing the car from moving. You have to be mentally disturbed to hang a doll like this in your own car. The car is angled downhill. Releasing the handbrake, it would roll away, probably to crush something. Seems like a valid plan to me. I'd say I'm finished here. Better get back to the pub to explain my idea to Lars.
So you light the fuse, and then you run.
And are you sure this will cause enough of an explosion?
It depends on the gunpowder, but yes, it should blow the lock.
Lars, are you involving a stranger?
Involving in what? Good old Christian here was just helping me solve a little domestic problem.
It often happens. You install a nice armored front door to keep out the ill intention, but then you forget the keys in the house and you can't enter anymore. Fortunately, you didn't lower the anti-theft hook. Otherwise, even the dynamite wouldn't have been enough.
Dynamite?
Maybe that's an exaggeration. Just a little tiny charge.
Well, Christian, I really must thank you. If it weren't for you, I would probably be sleeping on a bench tonight.
It was nothing. Let's have a drink one of these nights.
So this is your plan?
I know it's crazy, but we must get in fast, even if you provide us with the best of diversions. Anyway, what's your status?
I identified Mama's car and managed to force my way in. The car's on a slope, so if I release the handbrake, it should loudly crash.
Alice, I did not expect that from you. Breaking into cars, creating plans to destroy another's property. I'm proud of you.
And now?
As planned, give me time to manufacture an explosive. The most complicated part will be to find something that serves as a powerful detonator.
Something like this?
You are the best assistant in the world.
Wrong, Lazarus Bundy. I'm not your assistant, remember?
You're right. So, wait for me here, partner.
So, are you single?
Oh, gosh.
The final madness of Lazarus Bundy was about to start. The main event, so to speak. The guy at the table had even scribbled down how to manufacture a handmade explosive stick. I couldn't believe what I saw. A little delicious, intoxicating pistachio. And it was mine. All mine. Hey there.
Can't you wait 8 minutes or so, damn it? I bet my monthly wage on this match.
I'll be quick, I promise. I suppose you're familiar with this area.
Not much. I have everything I need right here.
So you don't know anything about the King Lyrie?
The cemetery. A dusty but ritzy place. You'd like it. Why don't you go right now?
I've already been there, actually.
Well, go back there and leave me alone once and for all.
I worked in a bar once.
I'm not hiring.
Are you sure? I make amazing cocktails.
We don't serve cocktails here. This is a pub with dignity.
Do you also sell strong stuff here?
Finally, you order something. I was starting to believe you were only here to make me miss the highlights.
Nice whiskey, please.
Whiskey? Pah! You Americans really don't know how to enjoy things.
I'm not exactly American. What do you suggest?
The English nectar par excellence, of course. Gin, born in the Middle Ages as a medicine and surviving until today with the same identical role.
Is gin a medicine?
A medicine for the soul. Wait there. Enjoy it. Feel its soft and warm caress sliding down your gullet.
Yeah, I'll let it breathe for a bit first.
It's £8.
It's a bit dark around here.
You think so too? I was considering putting some 150-watt bulbs on the counterboard of the bar.
I was being ironic. This pub alone can enlighten the entire neighborhood.
England is a pretty rainy place, and I try to remedy that however I can, okay? Actually, you know what?
Do you want some pistachios?
Nah, if you found it in here, it must be at least 15 years old.
Do you want some pistachios?
I saw you when you picked it up from the floor, so I'll pass.
Do you want some pistachios?
It's all furry and sooty. What the hell did you do with it?
Hey! What's happening to the electrical system?
You know what? The atmosphere has improved.
But I can't even see the tip of my nose.
Exactly. Much better than before.
I'm missing the old match.
Yeah, well, it seems deadly boring to me.
Turn on that goddamn light!
Do you want some pistachios?
I prefer to use my mouth for talking, thanks. By the way, would you like... Always alone.
No, that woman was as annoying as a mosquito. The maintenance guy was whistling as if he was assigned to pastry tasting in a bakery. Hey.
Do you need something?
I just wanted a word with you. I am Lazarus Bundy, and I come from Miami.
I'm Matthew, and I come from the dust.
What?
Oh, you know, from dust you have come and to dust you shall return. I was trying to stay in character, to make your visit to this cemetery more immersive.
You just gave me the chills. You worked at the library long?
Nah, I found this amazing job just a couple of months ago.
You're being sarcastic, right?
This is a cemetery reserved for nobles and aristocrats, with a minimum turnout of visitors. I pretend to clean, sometimes I sweep up a few leaves. A real godsend. The most complex task I have to deal with is the maintenance of the tombstones. You know, making the inscriptions, being sure they don't break, stuff like that.
But don't you feel a deep sense of responsibility towards the people buried here?
Let's put it this way, none of my customers have ever complained about the service.
What can you tell me about the Undertaker?
Oh, she's one of the plagues of Egypt. She'd be able to babble 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without interruption.
I'll leave you, to your work. Do you want some pistachios?
No, I'm fine, thanks. I've just eaten the biggest plate of fish and chips of all time. I have vinegar coming out of my ears.
Bunch of ingrates.
Don't climb, mate. You could fall and break your head.
Well, it's nice to see you worry about me.
I'm not worried about you, I'm worried for me. Do you know how much work it is digging a grave?
So Matthew was responsible for the tombstones, among other things. An idea came to mind.
What was that noise?
Oh, something hit a tombstone in the works and cracked it.
Really? That's great.
Great.
Of course, because I will be forced to call Matthew in and I will finally have someone to talk to.
I'll call him for you. I'm sure he'll be delighted. Hey. I think your jury colleague needs you.
Oh no, please. Are you sure?
I'm afraid so. There's a tombstone to fix as soon as possible, at the entrance.
Oh, how devastatingly boring. She'll make my ears bleed with her endless chatter.
After I got rid of Matthew, I prepared to tear apart that section of the cemetery. The tarp was tied with a rubber wire. While I'm at it, I'd pick that up too. That's the reason why the tarp was there. A defective surveillance camera, which emitted dangerous electrical sparks. So the camera still contained a tape, although it was evidently out of order. Couldn't they repair it instead of covering it with a tarp? I'd be electrocuted to death. I started waving like a snake, following the hypnotic movement of the flame. I couldn't say how many minutes went by before I realized I looked like a real idiot. The label read, Night Sighting Z. What kind of trash was on there? My goodness. Sometimes my mind floated and envisioned the most absurd situations. Not while the guy was leaning on the tombstone. Hey, I'd put some ice on that foot. Maybe I went a bit overboard with the brute force, but then again, I was in a rush. I found some adhesive tape and a wonderful pincher. What a haul. For my little project, I needed some gunpowder, so I removed the bullets from the weapon Alice gave me. Perfect for extracting some gunpowder. That would make the wax more malleable. Soaking it in the gin, I'd made it flammable. What can I say? Green Dart would definitely leave this world with a bang. I first had to seal the handlebar, or the powder could blow away to the four winds. My stick was only missing a fuse. In addition to the fuse, I used the scotch tape to affix the stick to the crypt gate. With that done, I had finally completed my little destruction work. I just had to find a way to light it. Great. At the right moment, I'd light the stick using those sparkles. A quick phone call to Alice, and we could define the last details. So, that's the plan in broad terms. It's a bit risky, but it's the best we have.
Lars, I'm not sure anymore. What if you can't stop Redwood?
In that case, contact Burton. Old Seamus will listen to you. You tell him that I couldn't make it.
All right. Yes. Okay. I'm going. Lars.
Yeah?
I just wanted to say that, I mean, if we...
I know, Alice.
Really?
Yeah. I can't wait to celebrate like screaming monkeys at Quentin's pub as well.
Well, that wasn't exactly what I... Okay, yes. We'll celebrate tonight.
I really did know, Alice.
Here we go. There will be no going back after pulling this handbrake.
What a mess. I hope they have car insurance.
I guess someone should tell them.
Matthew took the rest of the day off. His foot was swollen like a raft. I'll go personally to chat. Inform them. Hey, blokes. Is the red Beetle parked outside the graveyard yours?
What if it is?
It just crashed into a priceless vintage car. If I were you, I'd moved away as soon as possible.
What? How?
You always forget to yank the pool brake, Mama!
Damn it! Move, Morticia!
The long-awaited moment of fireworks had come.
You're coming, Carlo. Fulfill your duty one last time, and I'll free you.
You've stuck your nose where it doesn't belong. One too many, dwarf. Now, be still while I take aim and finish the job.
There's no time to lose. We have to break in now.
Don't take another step.
Father Carlo, we don't have time for this. Listen to reason.
I can't. I just can't. The fog is thick. In this place more than anywhere else.
This is not a common tomb. The symbols on the walls, the decorations, the sarcophagus.
It's a Rosicrucian mausoleum. We found the place where the soldiers brought the Count of Cagliostro's corpse.
Here flows one of the biggest natural energy sources in the world. Redwood is channeling it in the ritual. His powers have never been stronger than now.
You must try to counter it. Open your eyes, for God's sake.
God abandoned me into the hands of the devil. He created me from the mud, and then left someone else to mold me.
Radwed manipulated you, corrupting your mind, depriving you of your faith, even of your sister.
Marie is safe, far away from all this.
Unfortunately, she also fell victim to this senseless war. I was there when it happened.
No, Radwed swore that.
He'd say anything to complete his work. Don't you see that he's used you as a puppet?
Stand back! Don't force me to take your life.
I have more important things to protect than my own life.
You have the strength and the confidence that I never found in myself. But I can still make up for my mistakes. Our souls will burn together in hell, servant of the snake.
I don't serve anyone. But everyone will serve me now.
No. Too late.
God, please, forgive me if you can.
You used the right word to describe this man. Puppet. You are all puppets in my hands now. Gentlemen, let's all get comfortable.
What the hell?
This power is an abomination.
Have you really sacrificed your son?
I won't harm a single hair of his. This baby is the blood of my blood, and that makes him ideal for my plan. The deep hate I generated in Molsberg was enough to fabricate the Hand of Glory. He was convinced he was my right man. The poor fool. Sure, I had to give up an arm, but no matter. I acquired a brand new one.
How could I not see that? The mirror is the link to the afterlife. A portal that allowed you to communicate with the world of the spirits. The Hand of Glory needs control over that world. Combining the two powers.
I will transfer my soul into the body of my son. The only 100% compatible receptacle. This is my masterpiece. What every alchemist in history has sought all their lives. The real Philosopher's Stone.
Then, behind the devil, an angel with a fluttering white tuft appeared. We needed to give Alice the chance to act, but despite the power of the sigil and Emeth, I wasn't able to move. Then...
The Grandmaster was right about you.
I remembered that I wasn't fighting the battle alone.
You're nothing more than a lunatic. A megalomaniac madman.
Do not dare to judge me. What do you think you achieved? You and your Grandmaster. History won't remember you. It will never even know you existed.
Some stories must be kept hidden. Yours is one of those.
A last pitiful attempt.
Anything but useless, though.
Nothing is created, nothing is destroyed, everything is transformed. It's a law that always fascinated me. I'm anxious to test its validity.
Radwed, stop!
No! And now that we're finally alone, it's your turn, you pathetic crab.
I'll shut your mouth once and for all, even if it's the last thing I do in my life.
I'm sick of waiting. Taste the power of the Hand of Glory! still have a few tricks up your sleeve. I'm impressed.
The Sigillum Emeth absorbed part of Radwed's power. Maybe I would still be able to stop him.
Come on, detective. Bring it on. Irrelevant as ever. I wonder why the doctor chose you. I bet you don't even understand yet how to use my mirror. You have it with you, don't you? It's time to end this. Look carefully, Lazarus Bundy. Look into the black well of your soul and lose yourself inside it.
It's all right. Quiet now. I'll take you away from here, all right? Oh no.
Mama was right that someone was trying to take the baby away.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is my son, and we are leaving, if you don't mind.
Put the baby down, miss, please. Keep watch, Eugene, Chappelle, and don't let anybody get out alive.
No, wait. I feel my breath failing. I don't want to die. Not now, not like this. I don't have enough strength to fight him. It's inhumane, but it's the only chance I have.
Mama!
What is this place? How did I end up here?
Welcome to my temple, Lazarus. This is the place where we will finally meet.
I can't feel anything. Has the moment come?
You've been allowed far too much time to prepare yourself, don't you think? In the meantime, I was craving to finally meet you.
Show your face.
You won't be pleased to be in my presence.
Show your face, I said.
You're right, but you wouldn't be so bad with a bit of eyeshadow.
After all these months, I still struggle to understand your humor. It must be a strange defense mechanism. But sometimes you humans know how to be very inscrutable.
Who are you?
Do you really need to ask? You should have grown used to my presence by now. You take me to bed at night. You wake up perceiving me in the coolness of your pillow. When you walk, you also bear my weight.
You're the poison running through my veins. What are you waiting for? If everything I've done or will do will inevitably lead me to this moment, we might as well get it over with now.
You've been a worthy enemy, and that's why I'll be merciful. There will be no slow defeat. Your flesh won't rot. You'll keep your dignity, just a bite, and then the nothingness.
Tekla?
Are you giving up so easily? Get up!
I don't.
Stand up, cretin!
Lo and behold, things are getting interesting after all.
He's mine. Get lost, you bloated primate. This moment is ours. I won't allow any interference. You insist on not understanding.
The human being is weak and pretentious. He thinks he can control the world, but he is wrong. Your DNA is the perfect receptacle of our existence. We just need a crack in the door, and we enter and take control.
In your case, you open wide the entire gate because of your weakness.
Delicious, intoxicating smoke. We will eat your lungs. We will eat you alive.
You're claiming victory too soon. Look at you. You don't even have the energy to talk. Well, we're everywhere. Unstoppable. Uncontrollable. You're right. I can't beat you. But in these last days, I've realized there is a way to slow you down.
Finish your job, Bundy.
Stop that infernal being once and for all. Make up for our mistakes.
Now I get why they call you the Mutt.
You can't actually be here.
Well, in a certain sense, I am.
There's no going back, is there? I wish I had more time. But, in the end, there's never enough time, is there?
Come on now. I can't help you with Radwed. But I can give you one little push.
I've got it.
I don't understand! You can't resist the hand of glory!
The Sigillum Mammoth is protecting me, but I don't have much time. I can't get any closer. Force field is surrounding it. Yes, I can. I can move.
No! Back! Stay back!
One last effort.
I don't...
I finally found the way to shut your mouth. Why wasn't I satisfied? I mean, I had what I wanted, didn't I? Final blaze, a last heroic act before going.
The reputation of Lazarus Bundy was safe. And the web of lies did its job. Lies. Maybe that was the whole point. I had planned to lie to everybody. I had become so good at it that I didn't even notice anymore. But I didn't plan on lying to you too. The first time was difficult. But the second was devastating.
Radwood failed.
That means I will have to correct his mistakes.
What do we do with the baby?
I'll personally take care of him. And the Westerner.